you are so good. Thank you.
I do it all the time. Sorry.
You know what it's like. Yeah. Well, normally we, because there's that little button that you can set that says hit automatic record, and I always turn that off because we've got intros and things, and I go, oh, it's such a double-edged sword, isn't it? So, Sam Leith has just jumped on as well. So let me just double check who else we've got. And I don't know if she's ready to say hi. I'll unmute before I get into this bit because she's just come on before I'm about to get started. So she may or may not be ready. Hi there, Sam.
Hi.
Welcome. We can't see you. You don't have to put your camera on, but just so you know.
Oh, look, I just got back from walking the dog. You don't want to see
me. That's fine. Welcome. Wonderful to have you. Thanks for jumping on. Well, I've just done around the ground, so you just missed all the intros, which is fine.
That's
right. But I will let you introduce yourself. I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but everyone's just done 25 words or less intro of themselves. And just specifically, is there anything in particular that you're wanting to get out of either our 30 days together or specifically about landing pages in the session I'm going to do today?
So my name's Samantha Leith. I work primarily with people on confidence and charisma in terms of helping extract their X factor, which is not talent. What am I hoping to get out of this? Well, it's kind of a good opportunity over the next couple of weeks to actually do a lot of those things that we keep saying we're going to do. And I have half finished things and half changed things. And I know Jane will just make sure I actually do
it. I will hunt you down.
Yeah. Hunt me down and eat one of those awful mocha hot cross buns that I bought you.
I know. If you haven't seen Samantha's stuff, it's fantastic. She does a Facebook Live every single day. What day are you up to?
275 today.
Day 275. If you want to see an example of consistency and extraordinary commitment. So she's done one, rain, hail or shine. She was overseas for 5 weeks, still did one every single day, traveling through Europe. But if you want to jump on, so Samantha's background is in television, and as she said, she's been involved in lots of shows and entertainment, and she's also an accountant by trade. We have 3 accountants by trade on here. So we have Stacey and we also have Jessica as well. So
and a lawyer. What a boring group.
Well, it's wonderful to have you all. So, and today my goal with these is for me to do not so much about a little bit less on teaching and more about helping you just get moving and get some stuff implemented. But at a high level, I want to just talk briefly about why websites matter, where they fit in terms of your lead gen. For those of you who have worked with me, we've done some work around the expert to influencer methodology. So I'm just going to do a quick touch on that, and then I'll just help you get started. A little bit of orientation is I've also, hopefully everybody has been able to access the Facebook group. Kelly, you've been able to jump in there?
I asked for the request. I haven't actually checked whether I've got it. I'm sure it would be. I will just double check.
That's okay.
I'm sure it would be all fine. I haven't got...
Just do one quick check so I can see you. But Kelly... I think you're in there. So it looks like it's Stacey, Janet, Kelly, you're in. Gary,
yep, perfect.
Stacey, have I got everyone? Sam,
yep.
Bell is in. Andrew Deering is in. Yep, okay. So I just want to, before I kick off too, is just to double check you've been able to access the two documents that I've put in there. I've put in a PDF, which is just a checklist of things to put on, but more importantly is there's a Word document in the unit. I'll just share my screen so that people can see what I'm looking at. How do I do share screen? Here we go. Just a little bit of, let's go over here to Facebook for a sec. What did we do? Life before and after
Zoom and technology.
I know. All right. Okay, so in the Facebook group itself, if you haven't used this before, and this can also, I mean, this is sort of a bit of a working example, I guess, for your own programs as well. But when you set up a Facebook group, it asks you what type of group it is. And this is an educational support group. So that allows you to do is it allows you to put units in. So this was something that Facebook released not that long ago, because I think they realized that they were competing with online platforms like Thinkific, and not that they necessarily wanted to be that, but as part of a learning opportunity is that they have these things called units, and you can actually upload units. So this program will ultimately go over onto Thinkific, but just while we're doing this process, what's really good is it's super agile. You know, you can just open up, start putting resources, tools, all that sort of thing in. So if you're doing this type of work with your own clients, if you're working with groups, they're such a great way to work. And just to create, I recommend using the units. They can be quite useful. So if you need me to do any more work on that with you, I'm happy to. But essentially what you'll need is this one here, this module 1. So you just click on units and you go to module 1 and copy website landing page template. So if you just click on that, and it's a Word document, and you just download that. So what we're going to do is work through, and you're going to put all your copy in there. Has everyone been able to access that okay? Is anyone having any problems? Just so I know. All right,
Nope, got it.
Everyone's all good? Okay, great. And the idea is you can use this template for most programs. There'll be some things you might tweak a little bit depending on the program, but 99% will be like this. Okay, let's go over to, where are we? All right. Okay, slideshow. All right. So for those who are still probably getting used to a little bit of the methodology I approach, so Gary, you've probably seen a little bit of this back when I spoke at PSA, probably about 18 months ago, I suppose. But for some of the others, you won't have seen this before. Deanna's seen it, Andrew's seen it. Yeah. So I won't have to go into as much detail. So this is just a reminder though, that the whole point of having, what's the point of the website? The whole point of a website is kind of like, it talks for you when you're not in the room. So it acts as your advocate. It acts as a way to be able to help people, and they make it, they're obviously making decisions about you very quickly. However, there's a lot of people even when we start practices that that when I'm working with them, we actually don't even start with a website, we start with LinkedIn. So the first thing I would say is with websites, everybody's practice is a little bit different, but more often than not, sometimes I find there can be a little bit too much emphasis on websites. We've seen some terrible websites, but people are really good salespeople and they're really good at being able to sell. If they're not particularly great at selling, sometimes there's a bit more leaning on the website. So the approach that I'm going to take today with a website is I'm going to take it as in you are working with the ecosystem of lead generation in your practice. I'm not coming from an angle that you are an internet marketer. I'm not coming from the angle that, you've got, and so there's, so the process I'm going to take today is a way for you to be able to do this part simply. You won't have to outsource this part in your practice. You should be able to build this part yourself, and then you could hand it to a designer or an SEO expert or whatever, like something like that. So the outcome today is not necessarily for you to turn into an SEO expert, for you to turn into a website designer or anything like that. It's just how do you get this stuff that's in your head down into a way that people could understand it, and that you could hand it over to someone who is an expert in if you want SEO and all that sort of stuff done, then you can get an expert to do that, and that's relatively inexpensive. So it's not necessarily about you learning how to do all that. It's just a format for you to be able to do it yourself. So the ecosystem of being able to get leads, I think, is important to see where your website fits into your lead generation and your ecosystem or your lead generation map. And so for all of you, you'll have access to the Expert to Influencer Indicator. And so I'll put the link, I'll make sure the link's in there. Ria should have already sent it as well. We might have put it in the onboarding stuff. It's all been pulled together very quickly. So I'll make sure it's up in the Facebook group anyway. If you haven't done it for a little while, it can be useful to do it. The Influencer Indicator helps you identify your marketing and lead generation gaps. Websites don't solve all our problems, but they can help. So just a reminder that you've got people out there who know you out in the world, and you've got people out there who don't know you. You've got people out there who don't know what they want, and you've got people out there who do know what they want. So up in this top right, you've got, if you're working with people who know you and know what they want, this quadrant here is direct contact, which is around newsletters, staying visible on social media, and phone and email calls. Now, where does where a website would fit in the context of this is like Gianna, where you said, I might be talking to somebody, I could be talking to a client, or I'd say, oh, actually, I'll send you this. It's got this specific issue. So the website complements in here as part of another conversation, if that makes sense. If you're sending out your newsletter each week and you've got that communications going out, you probably have an offer or your call to action at the end of the newsletter will be about what can we do next. So here's if you want to be able to buy my thing. So Gary, let's say, for example, if you've got your newsletter going out and you've got, CEO presentation skills coaching or something. So at the end of the newsletter, then if I go to a page and it's got your presentation skills coaching, or a landing page or something like that. Does that sort of resonate for you, Gary, with the work that you do?
Good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Equally, it could be a workshop or something like that. Same for you, Andrew, is these web pages need to be very relevant to the information that you're sending out. Like Andrew, if you've got your mentoring page, anything like that. Stacey and Kelly, yours will be like Gary, if you've got your specific corporate programs. And Jessica, with the program you're thinking of, have you got a specific, I know you said before you didn't have a specific program, but what's the most popular program that people would buy from you around money mindset?
Yeah, so I'm feeling a little bit torn at the minute because my signature program is my Money Mastery Academy, which is my 3-month wealth acceleration program, which is entirely online.
Right.
I'm feeling like I want to create, and this is the thing, I've kind of been a bit of the course junkie. I've launched that many courses over the last couple of years. It's been a bit crazy. So I'm kind of wanting to do less better and be known for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm feeling like at this time to offer like similar to what you've done with a 30-day program for people to kind of, work through what's coming up for them and create a plan and future-proof their finances and so forth.
Awesome.
So I'm thinking of, as much as I know bright shiny object syndrome is my downside, I'm very creative and want to be doing a million different things at once. Yes. I am feeling like what I'll be doing at this time is creating a lower priced offer that people can access online. And then of course they have the option of upgrading to the Money Mastery Academy when they love the results so much from the smaller program.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's kind of been the model of my business that I've worked with, is smaller, lower priced. Some jump straight into the higher price stuff. Others start in the lower programs, build up that trust in themselves and me. Yes. And they're happy to invest at a higher level.
Yes. Perfect. You can keep them moving through the funnel, and if they want to, because people are always asking that question: what do I buy next? What's next?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And I just want to check in, Kelly, you've got your programs. Sam Leith, I want to just double check with you that you've got, are you thinking that in this case could possibly be a coaching program for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So build out more of the confidence challenge work that I've been doing and have it more, more content in it, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Which can easily be online. There was meant to be an event in June, so not going to be working on that at the moment.
No.
Yeah, and creating, for me, I've got a lot of friends at the moment, literally hundreds of friends in theatre and TV that are now completely unemployed.
Yeah.
So I'm working with a producer at the moment on doing a online variety show once a week based on personal development, but I'll bring in entertainers and musicians, and it'll just be a completely, so think Marie TV with showgirls.
Cool. Awesome.
Great.
You're so clever.
Well, everyone needs, and a couple of us can get in the studio and do it, but they can't be at a gig.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is the time to, ramp up that, anything you can do, if it's, I'm saying to people, 3 videos a day, even, like just get content going. By the end of 90 days, you got 90 videos. It's just think creatively. And
I could teach people how to do 365 days of Facebook Live.
I know, right? Totally. So I think this is, so I think the first thing is to remember is that you've got you'll have people who will be looking for you, who will be doing Google searches, but just remember that your website and this landing page we're going to create today is more often than not where the traffic will come from, is actually where people will know you from typing in your name. So I'll go, oh, Kelly Tomney, you should talk to Kelly Tomney, go Google her. So I'll see what comes up. But a big part of this and this landing page is remembering that it's often through this part of the customer journey is where it will come up. So the next part is network and search. So like we're saying, there's people out there who know what they want, but they don't know you. So they're not going to be typing kellytomney.com. They're going to be typing executive career decisions, or the type of those type of things like executive career coach Sydney. They'll type some of those types of keywords. So the issue with that is that what happens is you end up in a commoditized space. So in other words, you're competing with an executive career coach in Sydney who's charging $300 versus, they go, oh, you talk to Kelly Tomney, she's going to be a bit more expensive than that. So in this quadrant, yes, your content will turn up in searches, but so this network and search where people say, well, who do you use? And this is where, who was it, Jessica? This is where you said, this is where people go, I don't know, you just need to work with Jessica. I don't know what she does, but she's just got this thing and you should just talk to her. So, so that's the network and referrals where they go, oh, do you know someone who can help me with finances, or do you know an accountant, or do you know, so sometimes your history as an accountant will still come through in that referral. Yeah. Do you find that?
Yes and no. A lot of it is kind of when they get into a place where they know that where they're going isn't where they want to go, and they're kind of like at a crossroads of something different. And probably the majority of people come to me for either mindset stuff, or they've worked with an accountant and the accountant speaks in a language they don't understand, isn't relatable, and one thing which makes me blush a little bit, but kind of people come to me because they're like, you make money sexy, which I've
That's cool.
Because I speak to them in a language that they understand, and they can kind of break it down together with the mindset elements of where they're blocking themselves to.
I love that. Yeah. My dad's an accountant actually, and I definitely don't look at money being sexy when I with my dad on it. So it's so much cooler working with chicks on it, that's for sure. But you make it relevant, because people see the essence of themselves in you. So this is where they'll say, I don't know, you need to go go Google Jessica. So that's where your website will come up here. There's Google searches and AdWords and SEO. I'm going to do LinkedIn SEO in one of the other modules. But here with SEO, so I typically say to most people, one of the most common questions I get asked is, when do I invest in SEO, which is landing page optimization. If you're following this other process, you shouldn't really have to spend any money on SEO until you're generating a revenue of at least 500,000. So we generally don't touch it, and only because you're still launching programs. Like Jessica, I love what you said around you're still launching things and trying things and testing things, and you could be failing those things very quickly. So there's no point investing in all this money in those things in SEO and landing pages. So we keep it high level and we make sure it's more complementing the activity that you're doing. So we want to make sure that it's actually selling and working before we invest in any SEO. And then you can get help with that. Please feel free to jump in if I'm going too quick. I'm just going to stop any. So we're over on this right side of the quadrant here where we're dealing with people who know what they want. So in other words, they're coming across you because they've known you. They're coming to the website, coming to landing pages because they know you. We haven't got to the people that don't know you yet. But what insights are you having? I'm just going to check in if anyone's happy to share. What insights are you having just even on that so far, just about the website landing pages? Who's happy to share? Feel free to chime in.
Jump in.
Go, thanks, Diana.
Someone just said something before and I just had a complete moment and I just thought, we should be doing like an online program. The biggest problem that that our clients have is that people don't know their standards. And I just was thinking and I thought, well, we could easily have some kind of online that steps you through a whole range of key legislation parts specific to contract requirements. So,
okay.
Anyway,
Great pickup. It's the beauty of doing this not by yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So capture that. Think about how would they buy it? What's the biggest problem it solves? Who would be the person who's your buyer? All that sort of stuff. So it might even be that it applies to this.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Anyone else? What else is standing out to you? Fire away, Stacey.
Just something I thought I'd mention. It's not particularly about, I guess, the website, but just generally the concept of online. So because I do a lot of delivery inside a corporate as well as public programs and that sort of thing, I had a couple of clients come back and say, well, clearly the booking that we had made for such and such a date, we can't do that now because we just don't know what's going to happen.
Yes.
And that came through by email, but instead of actually going, oh, okay, I got on the phone with each of them and I said, I just want you to understand that we do have some online options. We can do it in an online format. You could do it like this or you could do it like that. And it had never crossed their minds.
Exactly.
So I think it's really clear that we actually need to introduce the ideas to the people that we're working with because they won't come up with it themselves. So everything's just not a write-off. It's let's be creative and let's actually help them to understand what their options are. And I think even adding that concept into different ways that we're putting our information out into the marketplace will help that to sort of start to tick over for people.
Yeah. Thanks, Stacey. That's such a great insight. I agree with you. I was watching, there were two people yesterday, and there's even someone not in our group, but as I was going through websites yesterday, where the first thing they did yesterday was cancel all their events and did a whole lot of refunds. Oh, what are you doing? Go solve some problems and, don't wait. You can sort out refunds later. Get over and solve some problems and see what you can do for the clients and come up with some alternatives. These were, one was a book launch and the other one was a course that they were running in Auckland. And I'd been to this person's course and I thought the exact same thing is don't cancel it, just run it virtually. These people still need help. And this is the perfect time to still deliver it. So I totally agree, Stacey. I think that the clients haven't sometimes thought about that this is an option. They're so used to face-to-face.
I think there's that, but that's also a really amazing point of differentiation.
It really is. Yeah. If you can do that and, even just getting used to things like Zoom and that kind of thing. So great insight. Thank you. All right. So let's have a look at I just want to have a look at your website in the context of over on this side of your lead generation. So over here, you've got what I call the awareness quadrant. So this quadrant, actually, before I say that, I might just go to Andrew Deering for a sec. Andrew, your expertise is in capability building. I thought I might just stop just based on the back of those comments from Stacey and virtual programs. I just wondered if you had any thoughts. This is your expertise. I just wondered if you had any thoughts on that with not just clients you're working with, but you know, you've obviously got a lot of experience with organisations doing this.
Yeah, I think Stacey's comment is spot on. There's, I guess, a spin. So first of all, I agree with what you're saying, Jan. I'm seeing a lot of people throwing hands up in the air and just walking away from perfectly good opportunities that can just be adapted a little bit. And I think one of the suggestions I'm saying to people, be it client or otherwise, is to play with it and hold it a little lightly.
Yeah.
So just because the mode that you're used to, it's one of the things we always talk about, people instantly jump to mode without considering what the outcome is required. So take a big step back and consider the learning outcome that you're trying to achieve, or the outcome of whatever the event is. Is it so specific that the modality can only be face-to-face?
Yes.
Nearly always not.
Yes.
Stacey's finding with her clients, she's kind of going, look, the learning outcome is X or Y. We can do these 2 or 3 different methodologies. And I think it's, to me, this current complexity that we're all talking with or about inside society, the whole COVID and all the rest of the noise, it gives us the opportunity to think differently around how we're trying to achieve what it is we're trying to achieve.
Yes.
You know, Stacey's example is perfect, and I think most of our clients, it's an opportunity to not only deliver the product still, but also do it in a way that is quite, and you can play with it. And I did this just the other day with a client where, you know, we can't connect. Well, of course we can. We'll jump on a Teams meeting. Oh, do we have that? You're on 365. Yeah, we do. Awesome. So let's play with this, and it might be a bit clunky for you, but this will also be a journey for you to talk about how you can do 365 through your organisation more broadly. And they're just like, wow.
Yes.
This duality of learning, or layers of learning.
Yes.
So you're offering the gift, and I deliberately talk about it. I don't know if you are, Stacey, but I'm really saying this isn't just the way we're doing it. It's also a way for you to learn how you can do business a little differently now.
Yes.
Yep.
How do you apply this in your context? And if you were really wanting to be an entrepreneur, you could then spin and so I can help you with that too, if that was your stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, I think it's, you know, sometimes because we've just been in a mode of delivery for doing it for so many years, and a lot of us got a lot of experience, it's just sort of how it's been done. Just taking the opportunity to think, can I do it? Can I do this differently? Can we still get an outcome? Because otherwise, the other reality too is that they've got staff, you know, they're going, okay, well, how can I work from home? But there's also the reality is a lot of people actually don't know how to work from home and don't know how to, you know, like, you know, for us, we're used to it, but for organizations, how do I keep my people productive? How do I make the most of this time to get them so they don't sit on Netflix and on the lounge and eat ice cream and hang out and, you know, and order Uber Eats? Is, well, how can I make the most of the time that they're like, this is a great time to invest in training? And I think if that's the narrative we've got, then that's sometimes a bit more helpful too. And flexibility of delivery is, we know, because the other thing too is that at this time, when people are under stress and pressure, they go to the familiar. And so you are the one that's already in the trusted position. They're not going to go find another provider right now. So if you can solve that problem, which we are already solving anyway, is to find a different way, you're more than likely to be able to come up with a way to help them, for sure.
And if people are less familiar with this tool that you're using, Jane, it has fascinating layers, you know, around kick out groups and all sorts of stuff. And you know, if we aren't comfortable with this product, get comfortable.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I think there's an opportunity on the side of the mess around how you might choose to do business a little differently as well.
I think so too. Yeah. I think I might even run a webcast on that maybe next week, and in the next couple of days, see if I can pull something together and around Zoom or something. If it's helpful, you might want to jump on. I'll put it up. I'll work on it later this afternoon. See if I can do some more work on it. All right, cool. Great insights. Thank you. So over here, in terms of where your website sits, is where your website sits in terms of speaking. So if you're going to be speaking at an event, particularly if you're going to, this is more like a website, a landing page, which I'm going to do in one of the modules a bit later, which is about lead pages for working with bureaus and event planners and conference organisers. There's no doubt that, you know, the industry is in a bit of a mess at the moment, but if you can get these collaterals ready. So I'm doing one specifically just for speaking lead pages a bit later. But you've obviously got referrals, which is your active referrals reaching out. Is there something that I can help you with? For those who have worked with me, you'll know that one of the things, Gary, you won't have seen this, but one of the things we talk about is at the end of programs, if you're delivering a program, is we always ask the question, is there somebody who you think this might be helpful for? So we make sure that that question is asked at the end of every program. So that's your outbound referrals as opposed to your inbound. Does that make sense, or is that something you might already be doing? I'm imagining you might have something similar possibly in place. Oh, I might let you unmute yourself there, Gary, sorry. Yep, there you go.
Yes, something similar to that, but
You've got something similar?
Need to do more of it.
Yeah, perfect. It's just part of your checklist. And then the other part here is proactive connections. That's you just reaching out. So a website and where that fits in is if you're reaching out to people, particularly on LinkedIn, you're going and finding people. Like you might be going and finding who are the people who are members of like Gary's our chapter president in South Australia for PSA. So Gary might say, you know what, I'm going to go and reach out to potential members for PSA in Adelaide, or if you want to work with CEOs, I'm going to go and find where do CEOs hang out. I'm going to have a look. It might not be just LinkedIn. I might jump on and look for the CEO Institute. I might download I might do a search on the top 100 CEOs in the country, and I might go and see if I can find them some way. So your website will be a part of a validation tool. So in other words, people, you're reaching out and you can find out more information here, or you can look at what I'm doing. Here's my website, or here's what I do. So your landing page will be a part of a validation process and a credibility process, sometimes particularly a landing page. And then the top left is educating, where you've got your blogs and things like that. So where these will come off the back of your blogs is if you've got a blog that says, if Kelly Tomney has a blog that says future-proof you, here's how you do that. Here's the top 10 things you need to do post a crisis to future-proof you for future crisis, or something like that. She'll have at the bottom a call to action. And if you want to find out more about future you, here's the landing page, or here's how you can find out more. So the journeys that people come on to come to a particular website is, no worries, thanks Sam, she's had to just step out for a sec, is the journeys that people come on create the context of what they're thinking before they land there. Where's their headspace and what are they doing? And the whole point of this is, sorry, I'm just going to pause for a sec. Gary, did you have something there?
No, I'm fine.
No, you're all good. And the whole point of this is just a reminder, is that where they also come from is your tribe. So Gary, you saw this the other night when we spoke, and for everyone I've worked with, thankfully I know you all, that we've all done this, so you're going, yeah. The whole point of this is for you to be able to make sure that the whole point is to manage a tribe as opposed to transactions and being a digital marketer versus an expert and a thought leader. So more intimate, high tech, high touch. So let's have a look at a couple of things. The other reason too is it takes 10 pieces of content before somebody makes the decision to work with you. So this is one of those key touch points. And when you're trying to build your collateral, is that at the lowest level, I think you've kind of got, you're invisible and you've got sort of random stuff going out there. But when we've got collateral, and this is what we're working on over the next few sessions and next 30 days, is it's got to have some purpose. So it's got to be relevant. We need it to solve the problems that people have. It needs to have the right media in it, and so it serves the right platform. And then we've got to work out how do we leverage it so that we can get the focus out on distribution. And if we can do that, then we know your collateral is leveraged to its potential. So the customer journey, just quickly, is I think the main ones really are you're reaching out as a result of your speaking, webcast, LinkedIn. You're adding people usually to the database as a result of that reaching out. The newsletter each week, and then there's the offer on the newsletter. So yes, there's also inbound stuff, but if you're doing your outbound work, you've got more control over the customer journey. So I thought what we would do is, before I come back to that list, is let's have a look at a great couple of landing pages that I think work well. And interestingly enough, I'm always a huge fan of Matt. So most of this landing page stuff that I'm going to show you is actually, a lot of it I learned from Matt. But here we go. So Matt, here we go. If we have a look at this page, what I'm going to ask you is, I'm going to scroll through it here, and I'm going to ask you about what do you think works well with it. So this is his speaker page. So this is Matt's public course, and this is where he delivers a public program. It's delivered for, it's a workshop, it's face-to-face, it's over a series of days. So he has a banner here. He has a video. He has a bit about the program. So whether you want to speak or build a brand, inspire a team, secure a promotion, launch a speaking career, he's got all the different things there. He's got pricing over here. He's got a bit around his credibility, who's Matt. This program is perfect for, so he's got ambitious leaders, professional speakers, thought leaders, preachers, anyone who wants to create and deliver extraordinary presentations. So he's got a bit about the speaking industry. Here's what you can learn. So he's got a bit of a high level outcomes. Here, introduction. He has a video of him going through the experience.
It was James Hume, president.
So he's got
Jordan for a position of leadership.
So he's essentially showing a snapshot of him presenting the course and the experience. He's got some testimonials here. So he's got one here from Dan Gregory. He's got a bit of information about the delivery and Christina Guidotti, her testimonial. He's got a bit about the delivery, what you'll get out of day one. So here's all the stuff you get out of day one. Then he's got another testimonial from Taki. Day two is design. So he's got a bit about design, and he's got another testimonial there from Lisa Messenger. And day three is implementation, and he's got a testimonial from Jack Delosa. Then he's got who should attend, and so specifically public speakers. It's a formula used by the most professional speakers in the industry. So that's it. And here's, if you want to work with me, here's what you can do. And he's got a brochure you can download. So I know I've walked through that fairly quickly. He's got two registration pages, 2 registration spots as well. But I'm keen to just stop and just check in. What did you note? What were the things that stood out to you that he's got on the page? So far away, anyone can jump in.
For me, it was the layering of all of the important elements. So what you're covering, credibility, who he is, you can see him in action, you can hear other people's experience with him, and I knew a couple of those names, so they're people that someone's going to know and resonate with and go, well. So he's sort of banking on other people's credibility as well, because when you see Lisa Messenger or someone else attesting to how good he is, and that's someone that you already know, like, and trust. I've never really I don't know him at all, but already I'm like, oh, well, if she trusts him. Or
Spot on. Great pickup. Social proof. What people say about you is more important than what you say about yourself. So spot on. Great pickup. Social proof. The reason why social proof is so powerful is because people have a need to belong, and they have a need to want to be part of, I want to be a Lisa Messenger, I want to be a Jack Delosa. So they see themselves in the people who are in the testimonials. So you're spot on. It's a status, it's part of status and credibility. And as you said, is people might not know Matt, but you know who Lisa Messenger is. So so that makes you pay attention. So terrific, great pickup. Well done, Jessica. What else have we got? Fire away, Stacey.
I think just that, it's him in action. He's actually doing what he's telling you he's going to teach you.
Yes, yes, absolutely. The experience. It's projecting people, not just telling me about it, which he's got here, but here's a snapshot of what the experience is like. Yeah, perfect. So he's grabbed the best bit that he could find, and so he's got, and it's mostly him presenting. He's got a little bit towards the end of a little bit of what it looks like, with an audience. And I've been in this training room, so it is hard to video actually. Yeah. But yeah, people want to know, what is it actually like to be around you? What's the experience going to be like? Great pickup. Excellent.
Yeah. But I also think it's about he's not someone who's purporting to teach you something that he doesn't do himself.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So if you're going to teach me about presenting and speaking, then I should probably see you presenting and speaking. Good.
I love the simplicity of it, and it's all just based on what it actually is, what you actually get, rather than the psychology behind a fancy sales page.
Yes.
And all the emotive stuff. Like, this is just nuts and bolts, which really appeals to me. And I think more people should actually do it like this.
Yeah, it's nice and elegant, isn't it? It's clean and efficient in the way that it is, and it's not like by my thing.
Not telling you you're going to be hopeless if you don't do it.
Yeah, and you're going to die if you don't do it. Good, great. All right, what else did you pick up?
One of the subtleties, Jane, for me is it's showing different periods of matter as well.
Yes.
You can tell it's this, and even the black and white, the subtlety of the black and white at the start shows a sense of timelessness.
Yes.
Completely unconscious. Great game where he's kind of showing a great black and white image.
Yes.
And then there's layers of different, you can tell that this is made across a number of years. He's been around for a long time doing this.
Yeah.
And even does he need to update guys like Dan Gregory? I mean, that's Dan a few years ago when he had hair. Well, he doesn't need to. This is the story. He's been doing this a long time, and these kind of characters rely upon him. So it's got a sense of he's old and he's doing it. He's been around a while, but he's still contemporary.
Yeah.
There's something in that that's quite clever.
Yeah, and for those people, you're spot on. Like, even for those who know Dan Gregory, we know Dan Gregory's probably one of the most booked speakers in the country. So you go, all right, well, between Matt and Dan, two of the most booked speakers in the country, this guy must know something. So even if you don't know Matt Church, I can see again that social proof. I know who Dan Gregory is. Great pickup. And even the balance of male and female, and I sometimes find on a lot of pages, sometimes if it's just the unconscious bias, and sometimes there's a lot of men as the testimonials on there, or equally might be a lot of women, particularly if you're trying to make sure that you just attract more men as well. Whatever you put in the testimonials or these is what you will get back. So when I'm doing branding work and positioning work with people, if I've got to elevate someone's brand and repositioning, the place I start is actually the testimonials. So I've stripped them out and replaced them all. So it is really important to have a look at your testimonials and what you've got. And if not, then you realize, actually, now I realize why I'm not getting the ideal clients for this, because I've got the wrong testimonials on my pages. Great pickup. Good, Andrew. What else? Anything else that you're noticing?
Less is more.
Less is more. Yes.
There's not bells and whistles and this and that. And it's just kind of, as soon as you land on there, it kind of grabs your attention with that nice dark banner image. But then scrolling down, there's still a lot of white space, and it's not too much for your mind to consume. And like confused mind says no, so it's just leading you through without overwhelming.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's it. Stacey, well done, Jessica.
The last thing I was going to say is it's just really clear what this is about.
Yeah.
Like speakership. That's it.
Yep, it's nice and clear. Like you said, it's and that's what people want. We need to, and a big part of it is what Matt's got here around the clarity is the formatting makes a big difference. What you've got is scannability. So people can scan through the information. Most people will, you've got to get through your scan test So the first part is we could scan through that. You could see, so that how I walked through it was how the customer will walk through it. They will scan through, they'll go, right, they see face, message, they scan down, right, I've got a video, okay, I could watch that. I'm probably scanning through most of this. I've got to get through the scan. So I'm looking for this is perfect for, we've got headers and things like that that work, what you can expect to learn. Okay, cool, I can watch a little bit of that. There I can see the price. Okay, oh, Dan Gregory, wow, okay, that's cool. Oh, Christina Guidotti, I know who she is. She must be, he must be all right because I know she's good. Oh, good, here's what you get. Animation, engagement, interaction, cool. Here are some things, anticipation, influence, great. Yep, that's all the stuff I'm after. Taki, oh yeah, I know Taki. Oh, he's pretty good too. Oh, Lisa Messenger. Oh, wow. So I'm going day 2 design. So the big messages are popping out and these blocks allow me to scan through and read at a high level without me getting caught up in all that content. But the content, the depth of the content is there for the read through. So the first goal that we've got is, have we got scannability? And then the second goal is, have I got the content there that's clean and that allows people to be able to buy. So great pickup, Stacey. All right, so how about we unpack it and then you can have a look at, I'll go into a little bit of detail here and then we're gonna have a look at yours. I'll show you one more example and then you're gonna do yours. So what he's got at the top, there's a few things he's got. One is, as you picked up, Andrew, is this hero shot. So this hero shot, the reason why this works so well is because he has a microphone on. So he's on a stage. So if he's talking about speakership, if Matt didn't have the microphone on, we wouldn't know where he is. He could be just having a coffee with a friend or something like that. And it's just a subtle thing, but it tells us he's on a stage. And if you've got a microphone like that on, you're not at your kid's tuck shop meeting. You're at, you're on a stage and that microphone is a very professional looking microphone. And that microphone is also a personalized microphone. So a speaker would you would never receive a microphone. When you're speaking at events, sometimes they will give you one of those, but can you see how it's custom fit? And it's because it's Matt's. It's not one that he's been given at a conference and they've said, oh, here's your mic. This is Matt's personal headset. So if you've got something like that, you're a serious speaker. Like you've invested in your own gear, and that's an expensive mic. Now the average person might not know that's what they're looking at, but it is a different shot, and it's a really professional shot of a microphone. Such a subtle thing. The next thing he's got is he has a video. So for those who have come from thought leaders, is you'll be used to a conversation that we've had around a positioning matrix. So Stacey, you're used to doing positioning matrix. So, but essentially this video is saying, and if you listen to Matt, so I'm going to put this link in the Facebook group so you can come back and watch it. I'm not going to go through the whole video now, but essentially the video is a credibility piece and positioning around why should you do this program. So it's saying essentially, hi, my name's Matt Church. I've spent the last 20 years being a professional speaker, and this is what I've done. So when I'm out working with conference so this is someone who's buying his program. What I find, so he goes into a bit of the problem set, and here's how this program works. So it's actually almost like Matt is telling us in person the information that's on this webpage. It feels replicated, it will feel repurposed, but there's plenty of people who are auditory who will sit and listen to it, and there are people who are visual who will prefer to scan the content. So I'm going to put the link in, but the main thing is what you want is you need to have a video of you so that it builds human connection. So I'm not going to attend a course if you've got a stock image of people in a course and a stock video or of you or no video at all. So you'll see on every landing page there's a video. If you go through Matt's programs, they've got a video on every single page, and I'll show you one of mine as well. This video typically would go for maybe, this video Matt's got is 2.5 minutes. These types of videos can go anywhere up to 5 to 8 minutes, depending on if it's relevant. Andrew, you're used to positioning matrix type videos as well. But for Gary and Jessica, and Diana, if you said 2.5 minutes of what is it that, who are you, why does this matter, and how does the program work? They're pretty much the 3 things that are in this video. So I'll put this in the template. What he's got here, you don't have to have a payment section here, but he's making use of the space. And he's got it twice. But here, the first question is always, why does this matter? Why it matters is whether you want to speak to build a brand, inspire a team, secure a promotion, or launch a professional speaking career. Speakership provides the knowledge and tools you need. So this is, what's the promise? So he's put in, this is what you're going to get. And I'll give you the template for all this anyway. And then he's gone into why this matters. Speaking is the new leadership imperative. Fastest way to grow your career and business and truly make a difference. Speakership is the missing link between strategy and execution, the critical catalyst that inspires people to take a good idea and put it into action. So this part is promise. This part is why does it matter? And then this part is why should we listen to you? So he's got his credibility piece there. Now, this is just one example of doing this, but you at least need the elements. So, and I think the reason why this matters here for Matt, the reason, and everyone's a little bit different, but in Matt's case, is this his unique value proposition. So he's probably the most, if not one of, if not the most experienced, one of the most experienced speakers in the country. So his unique value proposition is better to be brought up earlier in the page than sitting way down the bottom. So for most, if we haven't got as big a differentiator as something like that, we'll put it down the bottom. But in Matt's case, we need people to see that much earlier. So it's valuable up there. This program is perfect for. So in here, this part here is your clients need to see their job title. If they can't see their job title, then they're going to scan past it. So if I'm Gary, I'm thinking, okay, well, this program is perfect for leaders, CEOs. Kelly, yours would be like if yours is a corporate program, you're selling to a HR. So this program is perfect for HR leaders who want to provide their leaders, teach their leaders personal responsibility. So just remember for you, Kelly, and those working with corporate programs, this is not for the participant. This is for your buyer. Because your participant's going to be in your course anyway. This is for your buyer. And same for Stacey and the others doing that. What you can expect to learn. So you've got your learning outcomes. How does it work? We've been through that part. And then right down the bottom, we've got, so that's it. Here's what you need to know. You can buy now. And we've got download your brochure if you want to. So let's have a look. Before I go into that, I'm just going to check, has anyone got any questions before I do another quick example, and then you're going to work on yours. Any other questions or any? So
Jack, when you mention they need to see their title, for me, it works with business owners in a number of different industries. Can it be, business or like, I'm just wondering how I can kind of.
Yeah, so business owners in a range of industries such as, and choose the industries that you like working with.
Okay.
So you might say small business owners such as people in transport, finance, restaurants, cafes, retail. So they literally need to see their industry or their title in there. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions before I move on from this one? Yeah, Gary, just unmute yourself there. That's it.
Yeah, I put one in the chat, but just can you just what you mentioned before about the difference between the audience and the buyer?
Yes.
and who has to show up where?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this program is perfect for, so if you said in your case, let's say you've got your buyer, which is the HR manager, for example. So
Yeah.
in your case, you would say, this program is perfect for, and you would just put, you know, something like HR, you would put the problem set probably even a bit more, you put the promise up here. So it'd be something like, if you're a HR manager and you're looking to increase the level of engagement in your team meetings,
Yeah.
with your leaders, being able to have great presentation skills is the number one skill you need. So something like that. Then
Yeah.
down here, this program is perfect for, so you would just have to make sure you set the context earlier that it's for HR managers who want to help their managers get more engagement in their workshop, in their team meetings.
Sure.
Perfect for leaders who need to learn. So you would say leaders who need to learn how to have, how to facilitate a toolbox session, for example.
Yeah.
So instead of perfect for helping you to feel more confident in your toolbox session. So you wouldn't put that. So you're not going to have that person reading this. It's you, just make sure you've got it's angled towards your commercial buyer.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah. Thank you.
That's okay. Any other questions on that before I keep going? No, we're all good. Okay, cool. All right, and I'm just going to, so I'll do one quick scan through. You'll see the same thing over here, and then you're going to do yours. Where are we? Oh, come on. Okay, I might use my coaching page. And I'll use this one, which is, this one's an oldie but a goodie, and it's nice and simple and follows a very similar process. And then you're going to do yours. Okay, this is my medical interviews coaching page, and we know this converts really well. Okay, so similar kind of thing. Let's have a look. Is this example again? I just need to move this. The joys of Zoom, it has all these things on your screen. You're constantly moving things around. No, I don't want you over there. I have to put you over there. Let's try that. Okay, so this is a program that I have, which is medical interview coaching. It's been around for a long time, and I haven't had to touch it because it just works so well. It's been around for about 6 years. So medical interview coaching. Again, first of all, we've got the problem set. Have you applied for a specialty training program and it's been unsuccessful? Are you frustrated because you don't know if you're fully prepared? Feeling the pressure and worried you'll have to apply for a specialty that's not your first preference. So can you see the problem set is very specific to this market? So I haven't just said, you know, do you want to have confidence in presenting at an interview? It's a very specific problem set. So you've got to really understand your customer well. Again, we've got the video and we've got a model. So we want to have a look at what's, this is generally can be helpful. Matt didn't have this on his site, but I find most people find this helpful. This was the one I usually do with most people, is that I get them to put in a model of the journey that they're going to be taking their client on. So it doesn't have to look this perfect and have all these elements in it, but I reckon what you essentially want is, because the purpose of this model is to help somebody to self-identify. So they can see, where am I in the journey? And this is so that people can see the value that you bring. So for example, if I'm Jessica, at the lowest level, you might have people down here. So you can see you've got like activity focus, and we've got a currency, which is around what are they actually buying? What are they buying from you? So Jessica, if we said with a money mindset, what are they actually buying from you? What's the actual currency you're dealing with? Is it confidence? Is it confidence in their decisions? Is it, what would it be?
So I just got so excited when I saw this part of the page because I think I might have been born for this moment. So in terms of last year, I created what's called the Chic Money Mastery model.
Okay.
Which is a beautiful, similar to that, and it's got, so it's the areas of money mastery. So because I don't want to be just the mindset coach, and I don't want to be just the accountant. It's kind of, and I don't mean just as in at all. They're very powerful elements of their own. I don't mean that at all. But because I touch on money mindset, money management, manifestation, and wealth creation, so I created a model I called the Chic Money Mastery model based around those 4 elements. And I've wondered why I've sat on it for so long and done nothing with it. And hello, opportunity. So.
Yeah, well, something like that you're talking about is actually probably more a solution than it is the journey.
Okay.
So good, great. I'm glad we are. So what you're talking about would actually sit down here.
Right. Okay.
So let's hold that thought. So yes, it's going to go on a page, but what you're going to do is we're going to come back up here and we're going to say, what people are trying to work out is what is the value that you're going to bring to me? So for your customer, so if I'm Stacey, I'm just going to go to Stacey actually for a sec because Stacey's been doing some of this work. Yep. Stacey, are you happy to share what you've been working on with this?
Oh, which one? There's so many. Yeah, I reckon I've produced about 4 or 5 in the last week. Yeah, so I've done, for example, one which is around leadership impact, because leaders want to make a difference, they want to influence, and know that what they're doing actually contributes. And so it's gosh, I can't even remember. Let me get my my model up. But it's about the journey of where they go from being really unclear and not particularly focused to actually knowing what they need to do, when they need to do it, and getting into a rhythm that just allows them to work in their genius and make an impact.
And so the beauty of having a model that shows the journey, I know Andrew, you're used to this, you've built plenty of these. What the question is, and Andrew, you might, because you're a capability expert too, is Andrew, your insights, thoughts that you notice when you're working with people with a model like this.
Well, I think these kind of models are beautiful because it allows them. Half the challenge always with any client or any conversation is too often we try to put our opinion of where they are on them.
Yes.
This model allows them to self-select and or self-equalize to where they are. And if it's done well, like this is a beautiful one. It also gives them the knowledge that there's more to do.
Yes.
So it's, unless someone, and if they are, they can go, look, I'm agile, 100% I'm good, or you don't want to work with them anyway.
No, that's right.
Really simply, versus them coming and going, look, I'm a bit frustrated. Okay, well, how do we get you to it? What does that mean? And what is that going to give you? So
yeah,
it just gives them the power, which is great.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Spot on. So the purpose of this is to give your customer insight into where they're at, because like you said, we can make decisions about where they're at, which may not actually be true. And it helps us to understand where they are. So this one is medical interviews. So you'll see at the lowest level, I've got someone who is really, I say, this is somebody, what's going on is the activity column. So with this person, I say this person, if I'm working with them to prepare for a medical interview, is that they're really verbose, like they're actually talking too much. And so what we need to focus on, if they're talking too much, because it means that they haven't got efficiency in their language. And what's going on is they've only got 3 minutes to get the attention of this audience. So what I've got to do is help them with brevity. I've got to go, we're going to cut down so much of what you're saying. Mark Twain said, I would have written a shorter letter if I had more time. It's the same with speaking. We've got to deal with this verbose language that's coming out. And it's usually coming out because the person's highly stressed. There's a lot of pressure with these medical interviews. They only get pretty much 1 or 2 chances in their career. So their confidence is really low. At the next level, they're feeling really afraid. They're scared of what they're going to say the wrong thing. They're scared that they're not going to get into their program. And so they're very internalized in what's going on. So I say, well, actually, we need to shift from attention in to attention out. We need to focus on the panel and less about you. And we need to focus on how we're going to solve the panel's problems. And those problems are sitting in a capability document. So we're looking for what are the competencies the panel are looking for. Because most of my experience I found with doctors is they actually haven't read it. So we go, let's get the competency out and let's have a look at that. And I go, great. Well, we'll at least probably stem the leaky boat. So we've at least put a stop on it, but now we get to make some progress. Frustrated is typically where they've come through maybe a couple of interviews. They don't know where they're going wrong. Their family are usually really encouraging that, like they're going, you sound great, you sound fantastic. Or the family could be trying to help them and they're really critical of them. And so that's not helping. And so the problem is they've got to get clarity. And what we've got to do is make sure we get focused over on the competencies and that they've actually got the right advice and support, as opposed to friends who are well-meaning but don't really understand how to help them best. The next level is then we've got to get them some structure. So I've got to give them a framework to work with so that they could be, so to work out, well, they have to start supporting their claims. Their answers are fairly broad. And then at the highest level, I say, my goal is to get you super agile. So you could answer any question that is thrown at you. The metaphor I use is I say, it's like being on a tennis court. If you imagine these balls are being fired at you, you could run across the court. You could actually anticipate where the ball would be going. So, so the purpose of a model like this, and I would really encourage you to have a look at, you can have a look through my website. You'll see there's a model like this for those who aren't used to doing them. Some of you have coached and have done quite a bit of work on these. But if you haven't done them, don't stress about it if you haven't got this done today. But I would really encourage you over the course of the next 30 days, is particularly with the program that you want to launch, is I want you to think about what's the journey. And so here when I'm working with a client is I can say, where do you think you are at the moment based on what you're telling me? And they go, oh yeah, I'm really afraid. This is my third attempt and I'm worried that I'm not going to get on. And I go, okay, great. But if they say, you know, like the first question I often ask them is, have you done any work with anyone on this previously? Have you done, and if they say yes, I go, great, tell me what you've done. So I know they're sort of sitting up around a 4 usually, and they've perhaps pulled their evidence together and they say, yeah, like I've got this, I've pulled these stories together, I've got this, I've got that. And I go, okay, so we've actually got this last bit. So the last bit at the top, that could take me 2 sessions to do with them. But if I know they're at level number 1 or 2, that's going to take me 12 sessions to work with them. Does that make sense? So I can, so it allows you to diagnose how big is this problem that I'm actually dealing with. Okay, so, whoops. Oh, I don't want that.
What program do you create that visual in, Jane?
I just do it in PowerPoint. So I've just drawn little boxes, but I'm happy to share a template if it's helpful for people to put something like that together. And if you want to have a go, pull it together, pop it in the Facebook group, and I'm happy to have a look at it for you.
Perfect, thank you.
Is that helpful for you, Gary, too? Yep.
Okay. Yep, thank you.
Okay. So promise from the program what you'll walk away with. So make sure you're really clear about the outcomes. With the outcomes of a program, when you're putting it on a landing page, no more than 5. 4 is even ideal. I've probably put 1 too many on here, but 4 is a nice amount. You can put 5 if you want. It's probably more speaking confirmation. 4 is probably enough, but yeah, you can put 5. There's often a lot of other things you're going to have. So if depends on the program, but have at least 5 anyway. Matt's has obviously got a lot on it, and which is totally fine. Then you've got your solution. So this is more, where's your customer on the journey, and they want to know, where are you taking me and where am I now on that journey? And whereas this is the solution. So Jessica, you spoke about, I've got a model that's got all the pieces of the puzzle that I bring. We go, great, that one's the solution. Now, my advice to you with that model is is if you've got a specific program, just choose the specific program that's on that model. Don't put your whole model. So it sounds like that whole model probably belongs on your website front landing page, not on a specific program page. So break it down, take that piece out of the model and put it into a piece like this. Gary, do you have something like this already, that you have a main model that you work with people when you're working with them on presentation skills? I'll let you unmute yourself there, sorry.
Sorry, keep forgetting that.
That's okay.
Yes, I have. I've got a couple of those different ones, yeah.
Okay, great. So this is sort of your big idea. This is the big solution that you've got. And I'll just check on Kelly and Diana. You've got something like this already?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got something on my website. Yeah.
Some of you, because Diana, we did content creation boot camp. So and Sam, I know, and Kelly, I know you've got that. So all good. Okay, terrific. So just make sure it's on there. I've just put some notes to say you don't have to put this on, but my advice then is to even just unpack a little bit about what does competencies mean, what do the questions mean, what does the practice mean. So the parts of your model, even if you just have a sentence or two on each one. And then now, depending on your program, is if you have a corporate program or you're buying business to business, I would not recommend putting a pricing model on there. So, but if you do have a public program and people are attending a course and they're paying for themselves, if they're paying by a credit card versus an invoice. So invoice is B2B, credit card is if I'm paying for myself, so it's public market. Public market pricing is, which I generally recommend to put it on and come up with your pricing model. But if you're doing corporate, is you don't want a pricing model on there because there are too many variables. There's way too much to work out what you're going to do for delivery. How many people? Is it face-to-face? Is it online? Is it this? Is it that? You've got all sorts of different things you're trying to deal with. So I'm just going to check. So in Matt's case, it's a public program and he has his price there as well. You go on, you register, you pay by credit card, you're done. So I'm just going to check if there's any questions. I know there's some questions around pricing models and things before. So my advice is you don't always have to have bronze, silver, gold. It can be helpful for growing your practice. Matt's very comfortable and confident in his pricing, and that's just take it or leave it. You can bring in a pricing model if you've got a public program and you want to introduce a mix of training, coaching, online resources, all that sort of stuff. So I'll just stop in case anyone's got any questions around pricing models. I won't end up too much down a rabbit hole, but I want to get onto building. Has anyone got a question? Stacey, yes, sorry for...
Yeah, just one question, which I think I know the answer to, but so I've got public programs, but they also often have corporate attendees.
Yes.
What's your suggestion there? No pricing?
Yeah, we'd call that still public market. So somebody from public market could still, so if I run a presentation skills course, they could send someone from a corporate, so they'll still, they could pay on invoice or they could pay by credit card, which is fine. Okay. So yeah, I would still have the pricing on there. Okay. But if they said, could we run it in-house, what would be the pricing, different pricing model? Yep. So, yep, great question.
Perfect, thank you.
Just a quick question, Jane.
Yeah.
On your pricing model there, columns 2 and 3 look silver and gold.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The content is the same except for the difference between 1 and 2 3-hour sessions.
Yes.
So there's a differentiation in price, but not an obvious differentiation in content.
Yeah. Yeah, the content's the same. So what they just need is they need more feedback and practice. Okay. So I'm not giving them more stuff. I'm just, what they're doing is so we do more mock interviews and I just coach. I have 2 to 3 hour sessions, but I just coach them until they're 150%. If it means I end up coaching them for 12 sessions, I don't really mind. I just keep going till I know that they're ready. So I keep giving them feedback. It just keeps saying, no, we've got to do one more session or whatever. So yeah, by that stage, they have to come to the sessions with everything learnt and prepared. So I give them access to the online course. And I actually had actors. I paid actors to do this. Simone has helped me, so I paid actors to do it because I couldn't get very good people pretend. My dad's not good at pretending to be a doctor and filming him on that. So, so I had to actually get paid. I had to pay these actors and give them the scripts. But they were actual transcripts from working with clients, and they gave me permission to use them. And so I did before and afters, but they were a comparison of male and a female doctor going through an interview. It was so funny because the clients who actually went through the program thought they were actually doctors. That was great. It was an expensive exercise, but it definitely got the return. So yeah, not more information, more feedback.
Okay, yep.
So, yes,
sorry,
I
question?
have one question as well, sort of on behalf of Andrew.
Yes.
We've been talking a little bit about pricing, and I'm particularly looking at today's session through the filter of his coaching program or his mentoring program.
Yes.
When you're looking at a program like that, because as well, I guess you have to also figure out your pricing model to put it there. But we've got quite a vast customer base with different budgets. What would you put up there if it's like, I mean, you're familiar with Andrew's work, that kind of coaching or mentoring program. Would you put something up there similar to what you've got?
Yeah, what I would do, there's a couple of people. So if you look at Oscar's mentoring program, where is he? Work with Oscar. He's got coaching. So the thing to just remember with pricing is a really big part of branding. So people look at the price and they go, oh, wow, she's really cheap, or wow, that's really expensive. Pricing's definitely a big part of branding. What I like about what Oscar's done here, he's undersold himself as he always does on this page. However, what I do like on something that he's done is he's got down here, fees for working one-on-one with Oscar are $35,000 for 6 months and $85,000 for 12 months. So he hasn't had a conversation, but what he's essentially doing is weeding people out pretty quickly. So the question though I always have is, where are you at in your practice and where's your revenue currently? It can be, when you're building your practice, it can be risky putting that pricing on if you're earning under, you know, 300,000 or 400,000. Andrew's in a different space, so you could afford to put that on there and be clear. But it's just, you've got to look at how it fits in with your other programs and what you're trying to do. Have you got the luxury to put that on? There's definitely coaches we see even in the US that are, Alan Weiss is on, he says 10K retainer every month. And that if you want to work with him, that's how he works. There's another lady over in the US, Vanessa something or other. She's got a program called Charisma from memory. She's 100K for 6 months, 150K for 12. So very clear and open on the pricing because it's a big part of the branding. So I don't know if that helps, but Andrew, does that help?
Yeah.
I'll just unmute you
Yeah,
there.
it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's one of those. Yes. Simple answer. Yes, I'll stop.
Okay. Yeah, if you built in all your other programs in under it, and you've been able, if you're doing $1 million plus with all your other programs in under it, and you go, great, they're all set, they're right. Now I can put this on, and I only want people who are serious. Then, you know, you only need 4 of them. Yep. So it's not like you're trying to go for volume. Sam, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, definitely.
Okay.
I quite like the models you do. Like, I've looked at them a lot actually over the last couple of years, and the way you do those pricing models. Yeah. But I see where you're coming from, and if it's a simple retainer, unless you've got a lot of value adds to building, which you have, I think that's a really nice line, because the whole point is working with you, and I think that's a little bit, it's brand, but it's also product. There is, my time is this, you know, it's not about all these value adds. My time is this because it's worth it.
Yeah, totally different customer. So, you know, if I put that in front of the type of customer that Oscar's working with, they think I'm an idiot. So, you know, they just don't buy like that. So, but for a doctor, you know, these people are students. Like, they have no money. They're putting this on their parents' credit cards when they come to see me. So they're looking for value big time. And everybody wants value, and price is only an issue in the absence of value. So, but in this case, if you've got the credibility and you've built the tribe, which Andrew has, is we see the value but we just need a little bit of information if the board wants to have a look at it before they approve it. Go for it. Go ahead, Jessica. Fire away.
So I guess my question around that is, how do you retrain an audience that are used to purchasing from you at a certain price?
Good question. So it depends on what the difference is in the price. Well, I won't get too much into pricing because I'll let everyone get into building their landing page. But just quickly, can you give me a little bit of an idea of
yeah, sure.
they're currently buying it?
So when I've done my kind of 14, and ironically, as a money coach, valuing myself is something that I'm always expanding in. But
we have to teach what we've had to learn. So we're in good company.
Don't adjust. So typically I've done sort of shorter 14-day programs at a price online in a group setting, or in a Facebook group at a price point between sort of 97 and 147, with then an upgrade into either private coaching or a bigger program. So that was kind of the price point I was sitting at for this shorter program, and I'm trying not to tell myself if people are in a crisis and they're scared to spend money, but kind of wanting to have that fine line, because I know the value is 10 times that. The value isn't an issue at all. It's just me kind of working out where their sweet spot is there.
Yeah, there's a lot in that to work through. And it comes back to, list size and how they're buying and a bit of analytics. But essentially what I would say is you just you start working out, because sometimes the problem is, have I got the wrong customer? So when I started my practice, I had job seekers in my database. Job seekers don't spend any money. So so I still have a legacy database. So what you do is create a product, but you've got to go and chase the clients who are your ideal clients instead of being passive and waiting for those to come to you who are at that lower price point. So, so it's accelerator clutch. So you can keep that on, but you've eventually will let those programs go and bring your new ones in. So yeah, you just got to do it gradually. But I reckon for you, Jessica, what I would start to play with is, what does the $2,000 program look like? What does the $5,000 program look like? What does the $10,000 program look like? So,
and I do have those, like the 2 and the 5, and the 10 is there. Yeah. So no, that's
okay. Yeah. So I'd be looking for, you might quieten down those other programs until you hit 500,000-600,000 in revenue, and then you bring those back in.
As in the little ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have Content Club, for example. So, but I'd always wanted to do that, but my practice was too early for it until this year. So Content Club, $97 a month price point. If I did that earlier in my practice, I would have killed my practice. So I had to wait until I had everything else set up, and then I could launch it.
No, that's really valuable. Thank you.
Okay, good question. Okay.
Then I just have one question.
Sorry, yeah, go Deanna, sorry.
Just a quick one. With regards to targeting your buyer for any kind of program, is it a bit lazy or not lazy, is it trial and error if you wanted to, say, capture the public individually and then you had a catch-all that kind of said, for corporate we can negotiate a rate, or is that kind of a lazy way of doing it? Should you sort of let some time go by? And so, for example, like I'm thinking, if we wanted to do like the online training for standards and legislation, we could definitely target that at either individual or corporate.
Yeah.
And so is that a bit of a trial and error kind of, you start with, say, public and then do a catch-all for corporate, or start with corporate and then go for individual, do a similar thing, rather than trying to do both?
Yeah, so if you've got, what you would typically do is you have it on the website, so price it up publicly. You've got to, one of the things I think you always got to be mindful of is, how am I going to sell this and what's the purpose of putting this together? So one part is to sell, but and depends on where people are in their practice and their revenue growth. So anything, and you've got more a business than a practice, which is fine. But with your online program is, let's say you have an online program that's $500 on the website. So you go, great, I could buy that. I'm an individual. I could go onto your website and I could buy my credit card. I'm going to buy that course and it's $500. So I go, great, I could buy that. If you're working with corporate though, is let's say you're putting together their bigger package and their programs, is that you put together a pricing model that has the value of that at $500 per person. And let's say they have 100 people who need to do it. So you go, okay, well, we can do a better price point for that. So, so spot on. So I have all my programs online there at whatever price, often around 500 to 1,000 or something like that. But they're all put into corporate proposals, and they're your leverage points to be able, because they don't actually cost you anything to run.
Yep.
Because you've set it all up. The front end cost has already been done. Now it's just leverage it. So, for example, so you might say, well, there's $50,000 worth of value in there, and I'll do X, Y, Z, and I'll just make it 10,000 because you've bought all this other stuff.
Yeah, okay. All right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
So yeah, so you're spot on. Different price point for corporate, and it's up to you how you negotiate that. You might license it. You might depends on their. So, but I would go in with how you want to sell it.
Yep.
As opposed to what their budget is and how they buy. Go in with how you want to sell it.
Yeah.
Yep. Great. Excellent. So the last bit is download the flyer. I just have a picture of location. You don't have to, but I find the image of the location kind of helps people with the scannability. And then you can download the flyer. So we're going to do a brochure as part of this program, but on here you'll be able to see that we've got the same. Just let this download for a sec. So it's just making sure people need a document to go away and talk to other people about. I need to go and ask my dad if I can, or mum, if I can put this on their credit card, which is more often the case with these. I need something to go and talk to someone to get help with. So here's the brochure, all the same thing on a document that I can go and download. So remember, it's hard to talk about you with a website, but much easier to talk about you if I can print something off and talk to people. And then you've got your testimonials. So the names, and again, I'm an obstetrics and gynecology candidate, so I can't use the doctor's names. I can, but they all don't want me to, obviously, because they don't want people to know that they've had help. So I'm happy to redirect them to them if they're happy to talk, but these are all real testimonials. I just say to them, I'm happy to not put your name on if you would prefer. There's Melissa from obstetrics and gynecology, there's one from plastic surgery, Laura at dermatology, Ian for urology, and Rachel for anaesthetics. There's a link to the book and things if people want it. But the main thing is you've got testimonials. So what I'm going to ask you to do, so before I go any further, any quick questions before I give you yours, and we're going to work through it? All making sense?
Can I just ask Jane?
Yes.
So I've got 6 and 12-month programs at the moment, and they are already offered online or in person.
Yeah.
So with pulling together the programs, this new program, which will be online,
right.
What is your view and experience around, do people generally see that it should cost less if it's online? What do you feel? Is there anything, do I have to look at,
yeah.
do I have to factor that in?
You have to factor a lot of things in for online, and you have to really think about your buyer and what your ultimate goal is, what you're trying to sell, and how it fits into other programs, and and the positioning of that product in amongst your other products. So there's a lot of questions to pricing. Pricing takes time to just sort of work through to make sure it's right. So these numbers that I've built with online, that online course is $1,500. So for people to buy that one, whereas I've got others that are $97, another that's $297, another one's $3,500, but they've been built around specific pricing models. So I'm happy to do like a once-off coaching session, Kelly. Like I'll put the link in if anyone wants me to do some once-off type stuff. You know,
I'll pull together a draft, and then
pull together. But if pricing's a big conversation, so hard to answer in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now let's have a look. So let's go over. So where are we? We need your Word document. So if you want to have a go, pull up your Word document, which is the, where is it? Your landing page template, which is the one that was in the Facebook group. So I'm going to get you to pull that out, and we'll just go into, there's our Facebook group, and with our units, we have, now, just so you know for this one, so if you're stuck and you get a bit lost, here we go. So this is the website checklist. So pretty much if you said, okay, I just need like a cheat sheet to work out what have I got to have on all these pages. So if you had to go through, this is essentially your checklist to go over. We've got program name. We're going to talk through problems and fears, the promise, the value derived, your video, value model, you'll walk away this program with. So learning outcomes, program's ideal for you if, not ideal for you if, your big idea, how it works, what's included, pricing, brochure, testimonials, and booking now if they're going to. So there's a cheat sheet in there. But what we're going to do is you're going to build yours now, and I'm going to be here to help. So this is your bit to do some work, and I'm going to do some feedback. So move all these things out of the way so I can see. All right, so this is your Word document, and we'll just work through this. This is 99% of courses, but if you've got something specific, we can work through it. So the name of your program. So if you want to pop that in there, so you can just type in the name of your program on that. So just choose the name, and you can always change this obviously. So let's work through it together. So has everyone got the name of their program? Let me know if you're stuck. All right, everyone got theirs? Give me a thumbs up if you're right to go on to the next one. Everyone's all good? Great, thanks Jessica, thanks Gianna. Just checking out some thumbs up, thanks Stacey. Thumbs up work well if you're doing Zoom sessions, by the way. Thanks Gary, because it saves people muting, unmuting all the time. All right, we've got name of program. So always just have your name of your program at the top. Then the next question is, what's the value proposition or the promise? So what am I going to get out of your program? And you'll see it's got here the value proposition, left and right brain statements. So the question here that I have is, what is the left brain? So a left brain statement is, what am I going to be able to do by the end of your program? And how am I going to feel by the end of your program? So if I'm Gary and I'm working with people on presentation skills, Gary, if you think about it with your clients, what do they want to be able to do by the end of the program?
Unmute. I'm actually thinking of, rather than presentations, what I'm thinking of doing something for consultants. So just working on this off the top of my head, but I've called it something like building your consulting practice.
Yeah.
Essentially getting people ready for, when the market shifts again.
Yeah.
So what they'll be able to do is be a lot clearer. It's kind of like what you're doing to us now, be a lot clearer about their positioning and having the, my stuff is largely around having the conversations with a client and starting with the initial contact.
Right.
So I'm just thinking that through as we speak, but along those lines.
Okay, so just jot that down and you can refine it a little bit more later. So this is key to what am I going to be able to do by the time I'm finished with you, working with you. So I'm going to be able to have, I'm going to have clarity on my positioning, and I'm going to have powerful conversations with my potential customers. Great, excellent. So that's good left brain. Left brain often has, will have numbers in it, like double your revenue or things like that. So it's the hard stuff. You've got 50% of your customers are left brain, 50% are right brain that are out there. You might attract more of a different one. But You've got to be able to talk to all parts of your audience. So what am I going to be able to feel? So Gary, if we use this same example that you've got, what am I going to be able to feel by the time I'm finished working with you?
Definitely more confidence, greater clarity, confidence in approaching and talking with people.
Yep.
And greater clarity about, it's kind of pitching yourself and overcoming objections, that sort of thing.
Okay, so pitching and overcoming objections is going to be a left brain one.
Oh, yeah.
So, because that's what I'm going to be able to do. So you're going to be able to pitch yourself in sales conversations. Right brain, I'm going to feel more confident. Or clarity is what am I going to do? I'm going to have more clarity. I'm going to feel more clarity, have a greater sense of confidence and clarity. So they're kind of a bit more right brain. So right brain's all how I'm going to feel. Left brain is what am I going to be able to do?
Yep. Excellent.
Great. Diana, how are you going with this one? What's come up for you there?
Similar. It's about for me being clear about your work standards and understanding that you're compliant. And a big thing for us is being able to share knowledge with other people in the project, because that's a big roadblock for a lot of people.
Okay, great.
And for the right side, it's around having confidence.
So I'm going to be able to feel more confident, have greater confidence in and clarity in using the standards, in understanding and using the standards.
Yeah.
Great. So that's what I'm going to feel. And then what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to have better conversations with people on the project.
Yeah. So not get technically overwhelmed.
Great.
It brings them up to a higher standard so that they can engage more.
Great. Got better conversations, reduce technical overwhelm. What was the third one you said?
I don't remember now.
Was it?
Oh, like typing and talking, I clearly can't do two things at once.
Reduce technical overwhelm.
It was the ability to have conversations, bring them up in a level of conversation.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, improve the level of conversation.
Yeah.
There you go. Great. Well done. Excellent. Does anyone need help with theirs? Stacey's like all over it. I'm onto it. Okay, so this is your promise. So we're going to make sure we're clear on your promise. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you're ready for me to go on to the next one. Great, thanks, Diana. Thanks, Jessica. And Kelly's okay, I assume.
Can I just run this one by you?
Yeah.
I've got the name of the program being Future Proofing You, a 30-day maximisation program.
Right.
And then value proposition for the left side, develop your future-proof plan and maximise your career and life during these times.
So that's left brain.
And then my right brain is feel clear and confident about your future. Feel clear, confident and prepared, probably.
Yeah, nice.
Prepared for your future.
Yep, I like your right brain one. Let's go back to your left brain. And this is a good one because if you're stuck on left brain, you can be helpful to go back to the problems that they've got. So if we go to what problem does this solve for them in the left brain? So they're going to be able to develop a future plan. What are the problems they've got, Kelly? Like they can't get they don't know. You said you said this before. They don't know what's next.
That's right. Yeah, they're uncertain. They've now got projects being delayed, deprioritised through COVID-19, etc. So they're feeling uncertain. feeling less engaged. They don't know necessarily whether they're, you know, how their business will weather through this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's back to feeling sort of that lost and frustrated, which is they're probably even more insecure than ever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. I'd stick with that, with what you've got on the left brain. Develop a future plan, and
maximize your career and life during these times.
Yeah. Fine. Maximize. Yeah. Career opportunities.
Right. Maximize your career opportunities during these times. Yeah, and life during these times. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Excellent.
Okay. Thank you.
Okie doke. Now the video, is everyone okay? Okay for me to move on? Everyone's all good? Excellent. Okay. So the video, this video in here, maybe I should just stop this down. If I go, the question you're answering is why you? That's not very helpful there, is it? I'll just take that out. So the questions are, so this is essentially, so why you? So as in your background, it's a little bit on your history, so it's credibility. Then if you can put in what makes you different. And Gary, this is your uniqueness. So what makes me a bit different is I've been the chapter president of PSA in Adelaide, and I also actually happen to be a magician. So we go, wow, that's interesting. So they go, well, if he can work this out and he's been a magician, then maybe I could work out how to do this too. So what makes you different? So that's if I won't take them. So what makes you different? Then I would just put, I would do something, I'm just keeping this simple. So it can be for an example of, so all this is generally no more than, it's usually about 5 minutes that you might be walking through this. Why you, your background, so what makes me a bit different, and then an example that's relevant to this program. So if I'm Gary, I'm saying, hi there, my name's Gary Edwards. I've spent the last X amount of years working with people who are working with organisations and for leaders and change agents to trying to be able to improve their presentation skills and influencing skills. So what makes me a little bit different is I also happen to, I'm the PSA chapter president in Adelaide, that's the Professional Speakers Association, where I lead a community of professional speakers. And I also happen to be a magician. So, but for the clients I work with, for example, recently I was working with a consultant, and they were a leadership expert, and they came to me and they said, so you go into the problems. So the problem is I don't know how to find new clients. I'm dealing with this lumpiness of revenue. I've also come out, in COVID-19 time, and I don't know what I should do. I don't know how to have sales conversations. I'm losing my confidence. And I don't even know, I think maybe I should go back to a job. I don't really know what else to do. So what I did with them is I did this program. So then we can go your solution. So what I did with them was I did this particular program. So what we did was we worked together over 30 days, or we worked together over however much time. And so what is it that you did with them, which is in the example? So what I did was I worked with them on their positioning, I worked with them on their collaterals, I worked with them on their database, I worked with them on blah, 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 all those things. And as a result, they were able to turn their business around, they were able to retain their clients, and they were able to reduce the lumpiness in their revenue. So what I've done is I've put together this program for people like Bruce, who might also have the same challenge. So the way this works is that we work, and you talk about, this is the program. So this program is a 30-day program, and how it works is it's a mix of phone calls and activities, things that you need to do. So you explain how the program works. And so here's how the program works. And then after that is I would go, and then you just go really aspirational. So aspirational is, and this will just generally be enough, 5 minutes will chew it up pretty quickly. Relevant example, and I'll just put here, be clear on the problems and fears that this person had before they came to see you. And then afterwards, so hero's journey, before and after. Hero's journey. The solution and the aspiration. So the solution was, so what I've done is I've put together this program. It's an X-day program. It's got a mix of training. It's got a mix of, you know, you've got some reading to do. We've got a mix of coaching. And by the end of that 90 days, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to have X, Y, Z, and you talk through the left and right brain statements. Program, left and right brain statements. Because I think at the end of the day, there's that, you know, what you're trying to do is you want to be able to do great work. You've been, you know, you've spent however many years doing this work, and now is the time where you're going to make your mark. You really want to be able to make a difference for the people that you're working with, and to be able to create a practice or create a business out of your expertise that you have, you know, that you've spent years doing. So if you want some help, you know, please click on the button below, book into my calendar, let's have a chat, whatever. Aspiration and call to action. Does that resonate, Gary, for you with this program you're thinking about? I'll let you unmute yourself there. Sorry, under the pump there.
Sorry, yes, no, that's great. Thank you, Jane. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, just your credibility, background, what makes you different or unique, an example of someone you worked with, how your program works, how this achieves their aspirations, their hopes and dreams, and what do they need to do next. So does anyone need help with theirs? Just unmute yourself if you need a hand.
So for me, Jane, sorry, I just, I came in, like, I'm kind of processing and all of that at once. I came into this thinking I'd create another program, and then I've kind of, you know, I've got the 30-day program, I've got the 90-day program, I've got the 40, like, I've got so many programs, I don't need another program. So what I'm wondering is, you know, it's really planting the seed in my mind now from what you said earlier about, am I working with the wrong customer? So I'm wondering if maybe either doing this to upgrade one of my programs or to create a new high-end offer, you know, with a more higher end sort of coaching and consulting package, and shifting the work that I do a little bit, which again, I realise is a more than a 5-minute conversation, but I just wanted to give you an update of where I was at with that.
Yeah, well, it all comes back to your database, and also, you know, at this time, just right in to launch something like that now would probably be an interesting time to do it. So, yeah. But I would have a look at who are the bulk of the people in your database. Are they mostly people who are spending $150 or something like that?
Majority of them are, yes. I mean, some are spending up to the $5,000 mark, but the majority of them are sort of easy to convert and happy to spend at that lower level. But that's all because what I've taught them.
Yeah, of course.
And I do feel exactly that at this point the likelihood of them stepping up to that higher level isn't high. So I like what you said about, you know, clutch and accelerate at the same time, and even just planting the seeds of a new market or a new section of the market while still continuing to serve how I know to and at a level that everyone's comfortable with.
Yeah, if we're launching a new program, I typically do the marketing sort of 60 days out to 90 days out and start to launch that to be ready for that. But in this case, I would look at who are the client, particularly at the moment, who are the clients you like working with the most, and think about it's really about working out what's your offer that you want to take to them, that what do they need most help with at the moment, and what else could you help them with that's just, it could be just for this specific time, as opposed to possibly launching a whole new thing. But but maybe look at what, so to give you, so how I did this was when, so I was in Adelaide, as you know, I was catching up with Gary, and then I came home, and what I did was went through, I pulled out the list of all the clients that I had. I pulled out my top 150 clients, and I sat down and thought, and I just really sat and thought about each person's practice. And I went through all the 150s, I went through their websites, I went through all the things that I thought, what are the patterns I'm seeing? What are people missing? And what could they do if they had the next 30 days where they're going to be sitting at home, or they're not able to do anything, they're facing an empty calendar? What is it that they could, what could I help them with over the next 30 days that would make the biggest difference? So my advice would be, so I didn't pull it out of thin air. All I did was I went and looked at what's the biggest problem that my best customers have got at the moment, and how could I help them? So it's more, go have a look at your clients, I mean, you know these people well, and this is the beauty of having a tribe is, you know, let the information tell you, like let the data tell you. And even from there I mean, I was kind of confident with launching it because I thought, you know, a lot of this work I've done with people, but you could even go to them and ask them, just say, if I put this together, would this be helpful at the moment?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
And don't build anything until you've sold it. So
yeah,
you know what that's like. It's, you know, see if it solves the problem first, and then when they buy it, build it like crazy.
Yeah, perfect. Well, most of my programs are usually just delivered forward facing in a Facebook group live stream anyhow, so a lot of it's kind of natural and organic. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like you might look at it and go, you know, how do you get through what's the money mindset in a crisis, or money mindset? Because what are their problems and their fears? They're freaking out, going, what am I going to do between now and the end of the year? How am I going to get my cash flow moving? You know, you've got the perfect topic to be talking about at this time of year. Or this all going on, that's for sure.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
That's okay. Any other questions on that for anybody else before I go on to the next bit? No, everyone's all good. Hopefully some have been working ahead anyway. So the question here is next is why this matters. Now this is really key, and this is where I find a lot of people struggle with what to put in here. So for example, let's say Diana, let's say if you've got clients there that, so let me ask you, what's the impact if people don't know the standards and know how to explain them?
It's a nightmare.
Okay. Yep.
Basically high level, tier one contractors, there's a huge amount of rework. So I've got a whole heap of data around what the cost of rework is in construction in Australia.
Right.
Which is essentially taxpayer money. It's just massive.
Right.
So we get into this rhythm of redoing infrastructure projects over and over again instead of building to a lifespan.
Right.
So it really comes down to time and money for a project business, as it saves them a lot of time and money.
Right.
And then there's a whole other offshoot of that around the fact that, you know, businesses don't invest in teaching tradespeople anymore. They put apprentices on and they're kind of just left to do their own thing. So there's a whole issue in the pace that projects are built at.
Right.
People don't invest in training.
Right.
And so we end up bringing substandard trades, and then it just has this big flow-on effect through the project.
Right. Okay, so everything
Glad you're recording this, so
yeah, I am too. Because everything you just said is exactly what needs to go in there. Okay. So bring the data in. So that data that you've got. So if it's, did you know that, you know, the cost of rework for tier one contractors is over X amount of dollars per year? The impact of that is it means projects drag out by 75% or this time, or 25% or whatever it is. Put all your data in there, because this is where people read it and they go, oh shit, I didn't know that. Like this is why this matters. That's excellent. Absolutely spot on. Has anyone else got one they want to play with? Test out. No, everyone's okay. So Kelly, you've been doing a lot of work on your book, and so in your case, I'm sure you've probably got a lot of this in the front end chapter of your book, which is around future of work, futures evolving and changing, but you've also got the problem set at the moment is, you know, why this all matters is, you know, you've got people working from home, we don't know what the future is going to hold. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear. But you'll have the bigger stuff around the future of work and things like that. This is kind of like the smack them in the face. What was that? Sorry?
Great to know where to pull it from, because
Yeah.
you've got it. Yeah, you got so much, but yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
I can go straight to the book. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. You've got to earn the right to say this. So we've got to make sure that we've got all the connection first, and you go, look, this is my background. You've got to create the connection, make it like so that they go, what's in it for me? The video is I'm getting to know you. I get to get a sense of your personality, your essence comes through, and I go, so what the decision that this person is making is, do I trust you and do I like you, which comes from Amy Carty's work in her book Presence. The two questions that they've got in the first impression, so that the same applies to a landing page. But then what you've got to do is you've got to go, right, now that I've done all that, now I can hit them between the eyes, and I've earned the right to be able to say, but here's what's going on. Here's the big deal. Great. All right. Then the next part is you need your journey, which was that value model that we worked on. So those value models, so Matt Church is there's plenty, I mean, there's plenty of people have done value models long before Matt was around, but Matt was certainly the person I learned them from. So, but just put your value model in there, allow people to see the journey that they're going to be on. So Jessica, I'll pop that template in there if you want to have a go at it and put yours up, and I'm happy to comment on it and say, yeah, that all sounds great. And so all good. And equally for anybody else, if you, Gary, I get that you haven't possibly done one of these before, so you're welcome. Anyone's welcome to pop theirs up as well. And Diana, if you're still playing with it. Okay, Gary's giving me a thumbs up. Great. Okay, once you've got that, so you can pop that in there. Then if you want to pop in there now, what you'll walk away from this program with. So what are you thinking? So I've got 4 spots there. You'll walk away from this program with. So now, so these are tangible outcomes as opposed to the promise, but you'll walk away with, you know, it could be, is it a plan for the next 90 days or for the rest of 2020? Is it, you're going to walk away with clarity around your sales documents? Are you going to work out how you're going to get the stories you need to tell? Or so feel free to share, or if you need some clarity on what you're thinking that they could get, what do they get to walk away with?
So things are moving quickly around here, I tell you. So what I'm thinking now is a 30-day program, and just really being an introductory taster piece that's going to meet them where they're at and basically help them and support them immediately, because probably at the minute, you know, talking about their financial freedom for the next crisis and creating unshakable is too much for them to grasp to. So I love what you just said about, like, they'll have their 90-day money upgrade plan, like things that they can do immediately in the moment, mindset-wise, manifestation-wise, and physical profit and cash flow plans.
Awesome. Spot on. That's it. Yep. Get into the immediacy of what the specific problems are they've got right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's a journey, isn't it?
Yep. It's all right. At least when you have awareness, you have choice. So at least it's making you ask the right questions, Jessica. That's excellent.
Definitely.
Good.
And I guess there's nothing stopping me, you know, to build this out on a smaller scale for a smaller program now, and then have it be a much bigger thing for a bigger program down the track.
Spot on. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Like even this program, for example, like if we weren't in the times that we're in, I would probably, this is a hard program to launch elsewhere because people don't always have the time. And secondly, to get people in half-day workshops over 90 days and 14 of them is actually very hard. So that's why, so I'll record it. So it's actually more a resource, but it's to go, this is going to look completely different in 90 days time, but the resources you've built, you know, you'll be able, it's just, this is relevant right now, but here's what you could do if you have somebody, because down the track, you're going to have a client who's in a crisis and you're going to have it goes, so you go, you know what, you need to watch my program Money Mindset in a Crisis so this is something for, you know, perhaps someone down the track, so that you've got, that you'll have built in this time that you can repurpose for sure.
Totally. I was saying to a client last night, like, this is lifing everyone at once.
Yeah.
We all go through our individual crises, but this is everyone having a crisis.
Everyone's having and so you're applying your expertise and your methodology because when you're an expert, when you've got mastery in your stuff, you know exactly what to do in your area of expertise when there's a crisis on. So it's your job now to lead us. You know, Seth Godin says we're waiting for you to lead us. So it's lead us, show us what to do. And so even putting together, here's the top 10 things you need to do at this time for your money mindset. You can do a blog on it or a video or whatever, but just make sure the offer is open. If people want help, that if you want help, I'm going to run this program and you're welcome to jump on. But here's all the things you need to do. Here's the 14 things you need to do in the next 90 days or the next 30 days. I'm actually going to do some courses on it. If you want to join me, you're happy to. But if not, here's what you need to do in the next 30 days. So if they don't have budget, then you go, great, go do that. And they can work that out. And they can read your books, read your blogs, all that. But if they want some help, you're here to help.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
Good. Has anyone else got or stuck with what you'll walk away with, or is anyone happy to share what their four are?
Hey, Jane.
Hey, we've got Stacey.
Yeah, it is. So just a couple of questions, so I'm struggling a bit about whether I should do the program or not. But in terms of what people would get, it's obviously aimed at leaders, primarily probably senior, executive and middle leaders, because they need to be kind of role modeling how to do all this. And I'm particularly, I guess, focusing on those organisations that are actually saying, you know what, the bulk of your people need to work at home right now. And so it's about making sure that they do three things. One is that they actually stay connected, that they continue to collaborate, and that they're able to deliver whatever it is that their team or business happens to do. And so I was thinking in terms of what they'll walk away with is firstly strategies to actually support their own leadership of self.
Great.
That they will have clear steps to take right now and throughout the period of whatever it is, not being in their normal circumstances. That they'll be able to set up a rhythm and a routine for working with their team.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And also that they will develop a return to normal plan.
Beautiful. Yep. Love it. Excellent.
Is that all right? I'm
spot on. I love it.
Okay.
Now it makes perfect sense. That's why we should engage you. That's exactly how I want my team. I don't want a team coming back. I've got to start them all over again, as I want them taking personal responsibility because I have enough stuff on my plate.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Cool.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you.
Love it. That's excellent. Yeah. Well done. Does anyone else need help on theirs, or everyone's all good? No. Okay, everyone's all good. All right. So now this part here, this program is ideal for you if and is not ideal for you if. These two questions come from a guy called Michael Port, who wrote the book, Book Yourself Solid. And in his book, and I just adore him, his book changed, if you haven't read it, it changed my world, and I'm a huge fan. I got to meet him in 2018, which I was like all a bit gaga, and anyway, so I was like, you know, when you just meet someone famous and you just like go, I just feel like I'm just a bumbling idiot. But if you have a look at his work, he's a New York Times bestseller. And he said that when you have programs to book yourself solid, he said what you've got to do is you've got to create a red rope policy. And by red rope policy, he says, imagine your business is like a nightclub and it's the coolest nightclub in town. And he said, you know, if you just let everyone and their dog in, he said, you are suddenly not the coolest nightclub in town. So he said, what you've got to do is you've got to create a little bit of a level of exclusiveness and a way to make people feel like that they self-identify, which is this whole sense of belonging. So in other words, and it taps into the aspiration of who they're trying to become. So in this, you'll notice all my web pages have these two comments on it. So so what happens is it also shows that you're not prepared to just sell to anybody. So is that this is specifically for people who meet this criteria. So you've got to meet the criteria. It taps into a level of status for people as well. And so it makes them feel like that they are in the right tribe. So in your case, it could be, so it's ideal for you if you are an executive in an organization that's, going through transformational change, or you are a CEO of an organization, of a business generating revenue of over $2 billion a year. So what they've got to look at is, if I look at it, you want your ideal client to look at it and go, that's me. I'm ticking each of those boxes. So mine usually says, this program's ideal for you if you're prepared to do the work. So I just make sure that people are clear that if they're working with me, they're going to be doing work. So I don't work with people who don't do the work. I don't listen to excuses, and I sack them if I listen to excuses. So I just make that quite clear on the page, because if they come to me and they're full of excuses and dog ate my homework, then I go, well, did you read this? But it's also, I'm really clear, really upfront. And I don't always deal as much with, I don't work with you if you need a counsellor or a therapist. That's not my job, and it's not my area of expertise. If you're prepared to just get in and do some work, I'm your girl. I'm being really clear and upfront, and that creates trust as well with your customer. So what are you thinking for yours? Does anyone need help, or who's clear? Yep, program's ideal for you if, and your program's not ideal for you if. So it could be the size of the projects for Deanna. Maybe it might be, this program's ideal for you if you have employees who are working on projects over X amount of dollars in Australia, that they aren't familiar with the standards or are struggling with the standards and communicating those. It could be location based. Is ideal for you if you can't get your team members, if your team have to work virtually at the moment or have to work remotely. So does that resonate with you?
Can it be something, sorry, can it be something like you choose to see this time as an opportunity and not to?
Yeah, totally. You have a mindset of opportunity as opposed to, fear. And yeah. This program's ideal for you if you don't want to. That's why I put in my copy. This program's ideal for you if you don't want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix, eat ice cream, and go back to bed and wake up in January.
Yeah.
So then, but if you want to sit on Netflix and you want me to do all the work for you, then I'm not the right person for you.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry, Deanna, did that resonate for you with your clients?
Yes, sorry, I wasn't on mute. Yeah, it does. That was really good. It got me to think about a couple of other things, because for me, the first place I go is to skills.
Yes. Okay.
Whereas I didn't then think about the structure.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
great. And also even just possibly how they're feeling. So they might be feeling like, you know, it could be a time thing, like they don't have time to keep, or the budget to keep putting people through retraining all the time, or they just need a resource, you know, that is a more leveraged way. Or I think the other thing too is with online, the value you get is consistency of the training. So, you know, they've seen exactly the same thing. You know, ideal for you if you need your team members to be assessed effectively, if it's an online version and you want to do assessment models, or
just a question on that. With the actual resources for online, do you make that something that's continuous, like that they can download and then, or that's continuously accessible as far as the site goes, or?
You could do a license model where, which I've seen done, where you might say, they pay by the year. And so for example, what I've seen Sarah Cordner do, so Sarah Cordner does a lot of online stuff and teaches online training. And so what she does is she says, so she has a program where she's got, it's $47 a month per person if they were buying it publicly. But if she went into an organization and let's say they had 1,000 people, that's $47,000 a month. And they're going, we're not going to pay $47,000 a month. And she says, okay, well, that's fine. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do a license fee. We'll white label it under your brand. You can put as many people through it as you like, but it's $10K a month.
Yeah.
And what I do in that is we assess people. And each quarter I do a report for you on who's completed the modules and who hasn't. And because inevitably what happens is they go, well, all these people haven't done their training. Can you come in and give them a kick up the backside and do a one-day workshop?
Yeah.
So there sometimes, or it might be something else, but so your licensing model could be a per month access type thing, but if they end up with a lot of people, or it could be an annual license and you put as many people through it as you like.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, okay, that was where my brain just went to, is that the standards are always changing, and I just went straight to that annual kind of model. Right. And went, I could make that work too. Okay.
Yeah. And then that includes, like, the fee that includes is the continual update of the materials around the legislation changes, all that sort of stuff. So they trust that it's kept up to date.
Yeah.
And so what I would just factor in is the reporting and of people who have completed the assessments. And like I said, the thing that Sarah Cordner talks about is you'll often find that people struggle sometimes with the self-learning. So don't be afraid that it's not worked. It just means that there's an opportunity for you to go in and do face-to-face. The reporting is what also helps you, that they keep seeing your value and that you're staying connected to them and the decision maker. Great. Does anyone else need help with theirs? So you've got the program is ideal for you if, program not ideal for you if. How did you get on, Gary? I'll let you unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. Yes, I'm working on that. Just it's sprouted a whole lot of other ideas, so I'm just making some notes about that as well. But I also went to my bookshelf, Jane, and found this.
Oh, good work. Well done. One of the best books you could have on your bookshelf. I love it.
It's a very good book. Yep.
Fantastic book. Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, great. That's worth a read at the moment.
Yep.
All right, terrific. Does anyone else need help? Or you're right? Everyone's good. Sounds like everyone's okay. Do you need a bit more time? No? Everyone's okay? Everyone's all right? Excellent. Okay. Now the next step is, so what you've identified is all, you know, you've set all the criteria around, are you a good fit for this? Here's why this matters. You set all the context for the problem that it solves, all that sort of stuff. And so now what we need to do is we need to say, okay, so now we're going to share the solution. So the solution is now, what are we actually going to do? What is the solution to the problem? So the solution is blah. So you're going to have, so your image for the solution, which is possibly like a a Venn diagram. Jessica, you said you've kind of got a bigger model with all the solution. So this is a landing page just for a specific program. So my advice to you would be just cherry pick out that bit out of, if you've got a big model, is just cherry pick out that bit and then create whatever the model is that sits around that. So if you had one, let's say it's, can you give me an example of what you've got? Yeah. Oops, let me mute you. There you go, sorry.
I'll just run and grab a picture of it. That's probably the easiest thing to show you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine, no problem. While she's doing that, I'll just grab an example quickly. Where's my, how do I get back into over here? Let's look. So that's essentially this bit, which is, so here's what you'll walk away with, and here's the program. So I've got, so the 3 things we need to cover if I'm working with the doctor here is competencies, and so they need to know the competencies, they have to prepare plenty of questions and the right questions, and then we have to make sure that they practice and practice a lot. And because if we can get if we know what the competencies are and we know the questions that the panel could ask, then that's what's going to allow them to be super agile. They're going to be able to dance across the tennis court. If we've got the questions, so if they know the variety of questions the panel could ask and they've done lots of practice, they're going to feel in control. And it's less about feeling like I'm at the peril of this panel interview who, you know, aren't even nice to me. They've got poker faces. I get no feedback. I don't know whether I'm saying the right thing. They're just writing notes and I don't know. So there's all this feeling of feeling out of control and feeling like the panel's in control of me. So it gives them a more sense of control, of feeling in control in the interviews. And this one, competencies and practices, they feel better prepared. They feel like I'm confident. I feel like I can go in and I feel like I'm bulletproof. So you might have a model, something like that, but the model is not so much the journey, which is what we did before, but it's more about the solution. So Jessica, while you ran off, what do you got? Okay. Yep. Let me just pull you up here so I can see. Okay, so you've got in the middle is this your money mastery. Yep, and top left is wealth creation. Top right is,
yeah. So it sort of starts here and goes around, because it also starts with the mindset. Because your inner creates the outer. So what's going on inside is always going to create outside. So we always address the mindset first. Yeah. Manifestation piece. Then this is getting the money flowing, and then money management to manage the money that's flowing, and then wealth creation is kind of the piece that keeps it perpetuating and growing.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so this is your Money Mastery Academy. So you would put that whole model, if this was your landing page for this particular program, the Money Mastery, then put that whole model on there. But if you were just doing a program on mindset, then we just take that bit off. We wouldn't put the whole thing.
Yeah, okay, sure. I'm just wondering with the 30-day program though, yeah, I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Do I do it just on...
Oops, lost you there. Let me try that again. Say that again. Sorry, Jessica, can you hear me?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can, yes.
Yeah, so I guess I was kind of thinking, do I do it specifically on money mindset, or kind of have it as like the money upgrade plan, and in which case there would be elements of each brought into that, or is that too overwhelming in a 30-day program?
Yeah, lots of planning and hard questions to ask in a couple of minutes. But yeah, just choose something. You know, is the idea, and you know, even in a practice is we launch things, we're prepared to fail half of them. We go, what do we think people need help with? Launch it. If they don't buy, there's the feedback.
Yeah.
So we would just, I would say, pick something, and you know, build your collaterals with it, and get out to 10 clients, go talk to them, see if is there something that would be helpful. And if they say no, then there's your feedback, and at least you haven't gone and built it.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, but yeah, go to your customers, ask them what would be helpful at the moment.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Where am I? Okay.
I've got a little side just while you're on that
Yeah.
model.
Yeah.
Just sorry, it's a little bit off to a tangent, but I just noticed I have no experience in this whatsoever. But how, like, is it easy, or how do you go about copywriting models and things that you come up with? Is it as simple as me plugging it into Google? How do I copyright a model?
Well, by it being on your website, you've got, like, you can see there, it's got my name and the year that
I just noticed that on a few.
Yeah. So, and look, at the end of the day, I don't lose sleep over, you know, if I worried about how many people have copied my stuff, you know, I wouldn't have a business. So
can I jump in here, Jane?
Gary, go for it. Yeah.
A little bit of legal background.
I think for me, just when I look at it, it almost feels like a bit of brand authenticity in itself. It kind of does something for the brand where you look at it and you go, oh, okay, this person kind of knows what they're saying.
Yeah.
Just a couple of comments, Jane, if I can.
Go for it.
So in Australia, you don't need to do anything to copyright material. You get copyright in original material that you create. In America and other countries, you need to put the little C in a circle underneath stuff. You don't need to do that here to claim copyright. Having said that, it's a useful thing a lot of people do put the little C underneath it. It doesn't change anything legally. It just helps kind of warn people that this is yours and, you know, you're kind of protective of it. The second thing you do, rather than copywriting it, is to think about trademarking it. So a trademark is where you are saying, look, this is a thing that's unique to me, and I want to be able to legally protect that in some way. So there's kind of two steps to that. The first one is that you put the little TM sign and your name or your business name next to it. That doesn't give you any legal protection at the time. It just says to other people, this is my trademark. In other words, this is a mark of what I do. This is a diagram or a particular word or a phrase that I use. So that's the first part. And then the second part is to actually register your trademark. So then you go on to you go online to IP Australia, and through the website there, you can register your trademark. Once it's registered, what they do is they search around and they search the world for whether someone else has already got that trademark. They also search for, and I've come unstuck in the early days with this, whether it's something that is kind of already fairly common and they don't want someone having exclusive rights over it. So I tried to trademark a phrase, leading conversations, and it was too generic. People are already using that sort of phrase. Literally the first thing they do if you're trying to trademark a phrase is that they just Google it to see if it pops up. So if you're trying to trademark a phrase, just Google it yourself, and if it pops up, you probably won't get the trademark over it. Once you can see it for yourself. You have to select the categories in which you want your trademark to be registered, and you select those categories. And the more categories you select, the more it costs you. And if you do get it registered, then you're able to use, instead of the little TM sign, you use a little R in a circle, and so that's a registered trademark. And unlike just a claimed trademark where you put the TM, a registered trademark is a legal asset that you own and that you can sue someone if they pinch it. Two things to think about with that. One is I've done it myself for a couple of simple trademarks. There are trademark attorneys around who will do the work for you, and they'll explore overseas. It costs money, of course. They will do a better job than you can do yourself. But I've just done it myself with a couple, and because I thought, I don't think this is going to be a big deal. The second thing is that, you know, when you've got a legal right, which is what you've got when you've got a registered trademark, it's then a question, as Jane kind of alluded to, what do you do if someone does pinch it? Ultimately, it means you can take them to court and you'll win, probably. That takes time and money and effort that you really don't want to go into. So the greatest advantage of having a trademark or a registered trademark, or even just putting TM on something, or even just putting a little copyright symbol on it, it's not that it gives you any great legal right, and it's not that it is something that you would ideally like to pursue in court, but it's kind of just a warning to people and says, this is mine, back off. Hopefully that will keep some people away from it. but it also has a branding angle to it. I just think if you're putting TM and the little R in a circle, it just says this is not only this is my property, but also this is my intellectual capital. So I hope that's useful.
Yeah,
Thank
you so
Gary.
much.
Yeah, the best is, like Gary said, is trademark lawyers. I don't know, I've got about 20 trademarks that I've got with different things. So it's worth getting someone to help you to have a look at the experts. They know the categories are often the hard ones to choose. So, but a lot of things I haven't in a practice. Quite often we won't always necessarily trademark it till we work out has it got legs. And but your practice is very different to some of the others that we work with.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now you tell me, Jane. I've got a couple of spare trademarks that I've never used. If anyone would like to buy them from me.
We've all been in that boat, Gary.
That's an expensive mistake, that one.
Yep, I feel your pain. All right, we're nearly there, so I'll just close off this bit. And so, image for your solution. Then my advice to you here is, I've just put a spot here, is explain the elements of your model, just a sentence on each. So if you have got a model, so let's say for you, Jessica, if you've got just explain a sentence on mindset, explain a sentence on wealth creation, a sentence. So just explain your model a little bit. You don't have to go in a massive overload, but just a little bit so that people get a little bit of an idea about what you're talking about. Now I put a pricing table. So now you don't have to put a pricing table. Obviously, if you've got a different approach, depending on that's why I put in brackets, if it's a public market thing and I'm coming to attend a conference or a course or whatever, pricing tables can be useful unless you're confident with your pricing, or you don't want to do coaching, you don't want to do all that stuff. Like in Matt's case, he's got one price, take it or leave it. He's not interested in coaching people and doing all these extra value adds. He just goes, $4,000, you get access to the online course, you can come to a workshop for 3 days, and that's it. So, price, when you've got varying pricing, just makes things a bit more of a muck around. But they are really good if you're trying to grow your practice and you're still trying to get a bit of a handle on what people would want. But definitely don't put pricing models if you are selling into corporate, because there are too many variables. There's a spot here for downloading your brochure. So I'm going to put a couple of samples. I'll put my medical one and I'll put the sample of the brochure in there. And you can equally, so then if you've got a graphic designer, if you don't have a graphic designer, you can jump on Fiverr or whatever, you can give those samples to them, show them your website, you've put all the copy in there and say, great, I just need and it doesn't have to be a massive, 20-page brochure. That brochure that I showed you for the doctor's one is only, it's 4 pages. So it's an A3. When I print it, it's an A3, but folded in half. So it's 2 A4s. Or I've put book in here. Like if you want people to actually book into, if you're launching a coaching program, then the book in here would be book into my Calendly, to your booking system for a 15-minute chat. If you want people to, if that's what you want them to do, as opposed to buying a course. Now, if you've got some online stuff and you're launching something similar to this, you'll have to actually have a button where people pay and you're processing the credit card. So it's PayPal or whatever you're using. But if you need to talk to people first, so in Sam's case, if she's working with Andrew, then, we don't want, Andrew doesn't want to be, and people won't want to work with Andrew until they've had a chat, but equally Andrew needs to decide if this is a person he could work with as well. So Sam would have to put on Andrew's site, book in for a chat, so we get to have a meeting and work out, are we a good fit? So just work out what you call to action. What do you want them to actually do next? And then testimonials, I put 10. If you don't have 10, like 3, like whatever it is, I've put, but it's quality over quantity. Like if you have 5 testimonials, but they're the ideal client, then choose 5. Don't put 10 that are not relevant. Have 3 that are the right relevant ones. So quality over quantity on your testimonials. And I've just put here is these little grey boxes of where a photo would go. If you can get a photo of that person's face, go over to LinkedIn, grab their photo, put them on there and, put the testimonial on there as well. So I've just left spots to put that in. And then again, equally make sure you have your about you as well at the bottom. So again, so it's like, hang on, who's Gary again? And so these are for your visual people who have perhaps not watched the video, but they've scanned through, and then they're probably going to go, they're usually scanned through and then they'll go back and read it in more detail. So I'm just going to stop there and just check in if everyone feels comfortable or any confident questions. You can pop, so what I'd like you to do from here is you're going to fill this out today, pop it up in the Facebook group so I can review it for you, I can make any comments, and then you're right to go to send it to your graphic designer. But if you don't need my feedback, that's totally fine. Go to your graphic designer, go for your life. So any questions on that? Does everyone feel comfortable with what they've got to put in to get there? And then you can, once you've got this, then you can obviously copy paste, move it over into your landing page, or if you don't do landing pages yourself, use your IT person, or if you don't use someone like that, is you've got people on Upwork, even ask in the E2I Facebook group if you need help. There's some suggestions in there. I know Sally Foley Lewis has suggested a couple of people in there that she really likes. So if you're stuck, just ask in the E2I Facebook group, because there'll be plenty of people who have used Great People. So I'll just stop. Is there any questions, any on this before I let you go and finish it off? Everyone's okay?
Yep, thanks, Jane.
You're all good? You're okay, Gary? Yep. Okay. All right. Can I do a little screen grab? Can everyone smile, say cheese? Thank you, Sam. You got a thumbs up. We lost Andrew, so you're obviously continuing on for him. Thank you. All right, beautiful. Yeah, have a go. So in terms of your outcomes today, in terms of what you wanted to get out, so there's a few things around, like there's a lot of questions there around pricing and pricing up models and things like that. What I might think about, I'll put a link up if people want to do coaching. I haven't got a lot of time left in the calendar, but I'll put it up and Sam will know that anyway. Sam's looking at me going, I beg your pardon? You've got no time in your calendar. What are you doing?
I'm Sam from that side as well, for those of you who have got emails from me. Change my head wraps when I wear them.
I'll have a think about what I can do around. I might even do a module. Maybe I might even bring module 2 forward, but that's still a couple of days away. Maybe I might do Friday's session and move some things around and do something around pricing. Maybe that might be a better way to get some efficiency out of it for everyone. But I'm mindful of what I've already promised people. I'll leave that on, and I might do a bonus session. But anyway, I'll do something around pricing, and if people still need coaching, we'll work something out. If I have to talk to you on the weekend, then I can do that, and we'll work something out. But so checking in, are you happy with what you've got? Do you feel like you can go away and start to put together that landing page from here? Everyone's okay? Yep. Tell me, what's the best thing you got insight on? What was most helpful?
Just getting it done.
Yeah. So you got all yours done now, Stacey. You're right to go.
Basically, yeah. I just got to pull a couple of pieces out from somewhere else and just finish out the value model.
Beautiful. Done. Yep. Great. And Jessica, what was most helpful for you?
Yeah, so for me, to be honest, I think the biggest thing for me is the internal shift around, not having to serve everybody and kind of being everybody's saviour. And for me, it's kind of the biggest thing that I've taken from today, and I mean, it's all been hugely valuable, is really the clutch and accelerator. And that's the space that I'm in. I think it's serving where I'm at and really being valuable service there, but also starting to plant the seeds for upgrade as well.
Right. And my advice to you is launch something new every 90 days. And so what happens is, and that's in normal circumstances. I think we're dealing with a lot of unknown at the moment, so we have to just see. But when things start to ease off and perhaps are a little bit more normal, by you launching something every 90 days forces your business into growth. So it means that you start to you know, these things start to get up, the accelerator clutch, and those cheaper programs, they perhaps not just go, but you know where they fit in your practice at the right time.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, terrific. Kelly, what was most useful today?
The structure, it's great to have, you know, the Word document there that you can just start to populate and pull things from different areas. So that's been really great. And then the conversation, the questions from people and stuff has been great.
Terrific. So nice to connect when we can't connect, isn't it? Diana, what's been helpful for you today?
I think just hearing the comments from other people, that's big for me, because I tend to stay within my industry a lot. And so it's nice to hear other people's perspectives from other industries, and other ideas. It just makes me think of things differently, because, you know, otherwise I'm stuck at home. I have a home office and I'm just listening to myself. So, which gets really old after a few years. So no, it's good. And allocating the time to do it.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I've been looking at doing it for ages, and I just keep putting it off because it goes in the too hard basket, because I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to do it. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. And you've got a different context, but what you've got is really valuable. And I know you know, your clients are going to need a lot of guidance and advice, so they'll be looking for you to lead them for sure. Terrific. Thanks, Gary. What's been helpful for you today?
It's all been useful. Thank you, Jane. But in particular, the way you talked me through the video, the different components of the video, that was, it all makes sense, and it was just to have that fall into place. So thank you very much.
Terrific. Wonderful. I'm glad. And Sam, I know you've been busy sort of in the background, and Andrew watched, and then he at least got his head around a few bits and pieces. So
it's been really good. He's been on Teams chatting with me, so it's been a little bit like being in a masterclass remotely.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot that we've got out of it, actually. So I'm tapping away at this template with his input. He had to leave, but we'll come back to it. And it's actually got him thinking about some other programs as well. So watch this space.
Right, terrific. Well, I'd love to see your landing pages when they're done. So please feel free to share them in the group, and you can have a little celebratory champagne when it's done. You got to celebrate the wins as you go at the moment. So Jessica's our expert on mindset here. So celebrate the wins as you go. But feel free to put up any questions in the Facebook group, and I'll go away and work on if people need one-on-one help.
Perfect. Thank you.
Shortly in Facebook. All right. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Jane.
Hey, Jane.
Sorry,
Just a really quick question. I wanted to talk to you about something else, about the expert to influencer group, just an opportunity that I've come up with. So can we do that sort of somewhere else really quickly? It'll be like a 3-minute conversation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, can you let me jump in the car and I'll ring you in the car, because I've got to just jump to another meeting.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. Nice to meet you, everyone.
Thanks everyone. Bye.